Hey, Hugh, you want to play Wolverine one more time?
Yeah, sure, Ryan.
I'm about to lose everything that I've ever cared about. Not my fucking problem. Pegging isn't new for me, friendo, but it is for Disney. Let's go.
You look ridiculous. People have waited decades for this fight. It's not gonna be easy. Full mount, and you ground and pound till he makes no sound because he's dead.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh my God. Okay, good luck. I'm a huge fan.
You heard it up top. We are talking about the one, the only, the shit, fuck, cock, ass, motherfucker. Probably going to hear a lot of those words because we're talking somebody who is irreverent. That's right, Deadpool and Wolverine here on Normies Like Us with your hosts, Colin Poole.
Mike Poole, Get Mint Mobile.
And this is Jake Poole, Buy My Tequila.
Hey, wow. You know what? That was a good joke.
Yeah, Aviation Gin.
Yeah.
Buy my gin.
The Rock
watch
is
my soccer
tequila,
team.
obviously.
Yeah.
Logan should have found some aviation gin in one of those scenes, but
Right?
branding. So Deadpool Wolverine, pretty anticipated, probably the most anticipated movie of the year. Maybe you could speculate. You know, I know we were kind of in different places going into this, but I want to ask you guys, like history with Deadpool. What was your prep? Like, did you watch the other ones before this? Kind of where were you at going in to this one?
Yeah. For me, I mean, yes, I've seen Deadpool 1 and 2. I didn't rewatch them in preparation for this, but I did watch Logan just the other night before I saw this movie, and I think that was the right call to watch that. And now that's a good movie, let me tell you. But I did not watch any other X-Men or anything, but I've obviously seen them all before, so yeah.
Copy that. Colin, how about you? Any homework or not?
You know what? I also rewatched Logan, Jacob and found it to be great. I really hadn't rewatched that since theaters, I maybe think. And in my past ongoing commentary quest, I did recently watch Deadpool 2, which I do own on Blu-ray, and absolutely adored the commentary with the director David Leitch and, of course, Deadpool and the two writers. So I have seen that one recently. How about you, Mike?
I actually was an insane person, and I started with X-Men Origins Wolverine.
No fucking way.
Yeah, well, I figured that's our first time with Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Wolverine in one movie, and it was famously terrible. So I started there just to see how far we've come, because this has been a movie like over a decade in the making, you know, with the trouble to get Deadpool 1 off the ground, then Deadpool 2 going. So I watched those and Logan as well. So I watched both Deadpools. And
you watched like 5 movies. Wait, you didn't watch The Wolverine, the second best Wolverine?
Is he in that one? I don't think he is.
It didn't have Deadpool,
but I mean, it's a good movie.
But I figured because of some of the cameos, Logan would be a good watch as well.
So Origins, does Origins hold up, Mike, in that it was always considered universally bad? Is it still universally terrible?
It holds up as universally bad. Even with Will.i.am as everyone's favorite Spectre, it somehow just can't carry.
Here's my thoughts on X-Men Origins Wolverine. I remember watching yeah. First of all, you take the merc with the mouth and say, okay, what if he didn't have a mouth?
Yes.
Very smart decision. But I remember watching this for the first time. I was in college. It was that long ago. I'm an old motherfucker, you know? So I was in college. I was in my college dorm room. And if you remember, a version leaked that didn't have all the special effects done. Watched that cut on my little MacBook in like 2011 or whenever that was. And I was like, damn, this is a bad movie.
Famously, the reason that film bombed, an early piracy victim. You're totally right, Doug. I forgot about that.
It's also
remember when they're fighting on the that smokestack thing?
Chernobyl. They're fighting in Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Still nuclear themes.
That's right.
I think that's the only time someone's actually been prosecuted for leaking a film too. Like,
wow.
You know, double check my facts, but I think Ryan Reynolds mentioned that in an interview. And famously, the test footage for Deadpool was mysteriously leaked before it was even greenlit. So it's a leaky little franchise.
Right, mysteriously leaked. Ryan Reynolds, of course, has been lobbying to be Deadpool for a long time before Deadpool 1 came out, and he's like, you know what? We fucked it up with Origins. Please let me do this right. Like, that's all I want is to be Deadpool. So
early fan casting. He was drawn that way in a comic book, and people were like, "Oh, it should be Ryan Reynolds." He was like, "You know what? I should be Deadpool."
I think a comic panel said like, "Oh, he looks handsome like Ryan Reynolds." Something. It made a comparison to Ryan Reynolds, right?
Ryan Reynolds mixed with a Sharpay.
That's right. That's right. And that's the only good thing about X-Men Origins is really like the one scene with him making jokes in the elevator, and then the sword fighting stuff, and then it's like the rest of the movie's trash.
Right.
And then Deadpool 1 again, took forever to make, but I think people enjoyed that. We get Deadpool 2, and now we're here. So, congratulations to Ryan Reynolds, pulling it off.
Well, that he survived this long. Now that's our film history. Real quick, we've all had our own bit of madness. So let's talk about our Deadpool fandom in general. And I guess maybe Wolverine too, we should say. Mm-hmm. Now, I went to Comic-Con recently.
Which is awesome.
I will talk about that fully in like a whatcha to sort of like break down what that experience was like. But I did do the 66th annual blood drive, Comic-Con blood drive. I participated with that, where the gift was a Deadpool Wolverine shirt, which I'm wearing right now.
Hey, that's very cool. Nice. And Comic-Con is still on my kind of bucket list. So that's very cool. I'm looking forward to hearing that in full,
Hell yeah, Doug. Go and donate blood. Little babies need it. But how about you, Mike? Because I know you were a little pool pilled as well.
Yeah, so I went yesterday as of recording, and then they had chimichangas at the Alamo special menu. So I got chimichangas, and then my friend texted me today and was like, "Yo, Jack in the Box has chimichangas and Deadpool stuff." So I'm very pool pilled. So I went to Jack in the Box today. And I'm showing the bag. I got a chimichanga. They got branded
the pool meal or whatever it's called.
Chimichanga. Wow. So like,
they got branded
Deadpool
boxes.
Really like chimichangas.
It's famously the thing he wants to eat the most. It's interesting that in this film he says, "Ooh, a burrito," or obviously he makes the shawarma joke.
Yeah. But he does seem to like chimichangas, and so do I. So I also burned my hand a little bit with hot water, so I'm very similar to Deadpool right now.
You're scarred up, yes, of course.
Scarred up, and I love chimis.
You do have cancer, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah. But there's something else I wanted to mention about the Deadpool 1 whole thing, but I forgot. But anyway, I'm
excited to hear more about Alamo, but
Jacob,
yes, as you're pool pilling because you're continuing quest of sharing with us your Funko collection of coolness of character.
We have today my Funko Pop of the day. It is a Deadpool variant. It's Pirate Pool.
Hey,
you see his little pirate hat. He's got his two swords there. This was just one that I picked up years ago, and I was like, you know what? Let me get this Pirate Pool, guys.
Gotta have Pirate Pool.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, there's different Deadpool versions, and I was like, this pirate one seems cool. Nice. So that's really all the story is there. But happy to show off my Funko Pops, as everyone loves them, of course.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I'm wearing a red flannel that seems to be Canada coded, and then I have a band T-shirt for an Australian metal band. So I think I'm covering both of our leads in that way.
Jacob, born in Canada, you obviously share a kinship with Ryan Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, I thought it was interesting because, of course, Ryan Reynolds from Canada, the character of Wolverine from Canada. So you have one character that's from Wolverine, but of course Hugh Jackman, Australian. So, but yeah, I was born in Toronto, Canada. So yeah, I have an affinity for all Canadians.
Wow.
Right.
A brotherhood with them, if you will. Yes.
A kinship.
Deadpool famously born in Regina, Canada.
Oh, right.
Regina, yeah.
The place named so nice they rhymed it with vagina. Yeah, I believe that's his
British
joke.
Columbia. I don't know.
Yep,
that's right.
I think Deadpool 1's set in Vancouver. I think he lives in Vancouver. I'm pretty sure. So
it's really cool.
Yeah. But I'm excited to talk about this new movie. Again, it's the first time after the merger that Deadpool has appeared in the Marvel Universe officially.
Wow. Did he appear in the Marvel Universe, though? We'll talk about it because I'm slightly confused about the timelines and everything in this movie. But we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it. We'll be full spoilers, too. But anything else up top before? I was hoping that thought would return to me, but it has not. So,
No, just Wolverine in general. Yeah, I like Wolverine. The most recent we saw him was Cal Dodd, obviously voicing him in X-Men 97. But I'm happy to see Hugh return. Are you guys?
Oh, yeah, I guess that's a good... I like Wolverine, but I never read the comics, as it's famously known. Like, I liked Hugh Jackman in the 20 years he's been playing this character. Like, I think he's great. Logan's great. And at the same time, I never really read Deadpool comics either. So I'm just coming at it from the cinematic standpoint. But it seems like both of these guys enjoy these characters enough to where I was, stoked for it. But yeah, Wolverine's not my favorite, but he's A tier. I don't dislike
Till
him.
you're 90. Till you're 90, Hugh.
Yeah.
I like Wolverine a lot as a character. I mean, in terms of the 20th Century Fox X-Men universe, which I'm sure we'll talk about today, he's one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character, and obviously the most popular character in that universe.
And it appeared the most, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, with the amount of solo movies he got and everything. I just want to say about Logan, which I watched the other night. That movie, man, it just makes me so emotional.
Yeah.
I just cry. I cry very easily at movies and stuff. I get emotional when it's sad.
The older
stuff.
I get, dog.
Absolutely.
Right.
So
I know he's your guy's guy. He's not really my guy, even though he is a big part of my favorite show ever, American Dad. But Patrick Stewart, who's someone who I'm like, give him his flowers. He's been on this long-running TV show. But I really got to ask you guys, how was he not nominated for a Best Supporting Academy Award for just a sad old man going through dementia?
Right.
Man.
That was my big takeaway from that movie, too, is that he just one of the best actors that we've ever had, I think. I mean, between Picard and Charles Xavier and all his other roles, but he crushes it in this movie.
Brian,
and
saying to Wolverine he remembers why he's like treating him so bad this whole time and how he deserves it, and then it's not him. He's saying it to this horrible clone that just kills him immediately. I mean, that's where I burst into tears, Jacob. It's horrible.
Right.
And
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. When they're watching Shane in the hotel room, him and Laura. I mean, so many great moments in that. And yeah, it makes me think of my late grandfather and everything and remember, earlier times. So yeah, it is very emotional. It's a sad cowboy movie.
Sad cowboy movie. He has to literally fight against like a younger, better version of himself. Like the literal metaphor. And then, anybody that can go around saying the Taco Bell quesalupa and make it dramatic.
But the look he gives when he's saying it, Mike, it's like he's dead behind the eyes. It's incredible.
No one else could do that. Yeah. So
and he always
stark
of course
contrast
brings
to
he always brings us all, even in X-Men movies and stuff. But I think he particularly really killed it in that one. And Hugh too, of course. I thought Hugh Jackman was great in that movie too. Maybe one of his best performances ever.
You want to say anything about Jackie?
Jackie. Love you.
X-23.
Hold on. Let's not go that far.
No, platonically, of course. I just think she's a great character. Jackie Lawn, my favorite Jedi. So yeah.
No, and Daphne Keane did a great job. Like normally kids can like really tank a movie, but she has a really great like intense performance, especially in the action. Like it's a great movie and top to bottom, like great cast. Even the villain we got dude from Narcos, he's so
in
fun.
Logan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hal Holbrook's great, or Hal Boyd.
Boyd Holbrook.
There we go.
He's great. And Daphne Keane. Great kid acting in this movie. It's really hard to have good kid acting, but the way she doesn't even talk for most of the movie. And then
I completely forgot that. What an interesting part of that script. It really highlights why she's good. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And that's just a great place
movie overall.
Yeah, to, I think launch into this movie because that's literally where we're kind of entering into Deadpool 3 is kind of the end of
Dig
Logan.
up Logan.
So that's right. So get ready for full spoilers, fourth wall breaks galore, and bone breaks possibly. Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine right after this.
We're back here on Normies Like Us, talking Deadpool and Wolverine. We're going to jump in. The new movie, 2024, the only Marvel Studios film released this year. Obviously, other than that, they had the ending to Loki. Kind of taking a gamble there, but it seems to be paying off. It's making quite a bit of money. It's starring Ryan Reynolds. We brought back Hugh Jackman after 7 years. And Jacob, it is directed by Sean Levy, who you described as the most boring human being to ever exist as a choice of directors.
Yeah, not my favorite director. In fact,
just a
one
studio
of my
asshole.
Directors. Yeah, if you look at his filmography, I'm just not a fan of his movies. Free Guy, starring Ryan Reynolds. Not my favorite movie. I would say Zack Snyder is a better director than Sean Levy. So
I'd say more interesting.
Yeah. So I stand by that. And obviously each Deadpool movie has been directed by a different person, which is interesting for a franchise like that. But I think it made sense in terms of he's worked with Ryan Reynolds a lot, especially recently, and they seem to have the same sense of humor, which maybe isn't always working for me, but a lot of other people seem to like it. So
Mike, have you seen this guy's other two films with Ryan Reynolds, Free Guy and The Adam Project on Netflix?
No, I have not seen either of those. So I really don't have a read on him. But
Sean Levy, yeah, he's made a lot of mostly comedies and stuff.
Can I say the big thing he's known for now is that he's a huge producer and director on Stranger Things?
Yes, Stranger Things is like the one thing that I like that he's connected to. But I mean, he kind of came up doing like Night at the Museum and movies like that. So a lot of family friendly stuff.
Real Steel, starring Hugh Jackman.
Wow.
Real Steel.
Okay, that's a very mediocre movie.
Yeah, it's not great, Mike. I really don't like that robot boxing movie as much as I should, based on the fact that the premise is it's about boxing robots.
They could have preempted Barbie by just naming it Rock'em Sock'em.
Yes, they should have.
$10 million more.
And Free Guy has a lot in common with this movie, I would argue, where it's a lot of. Some people like this movie. I did not like it at all. I thought it was really bad. But it's about a guy. It's basically about Ryan Reynolds as an NPC in a video game. It's kind of like a metaverse, like Fortnite style game where like anything is possible. It's like Fortnite mixed with Grand Theft Auto or something. And he's an NPC who becomes self-aware and then tries to break out of being an NPC, which is an interesting premise, but I just didn't really like this movie very much. And it's a lot of references. Like at one point he has Captain America's shield and there's like a lightsaber and like all this. It's just like, ooh, you like this, right? You like this.
Now,
so
Mike,
it didn't work for me.
How connected it is to this film. Jacob is not kidding when he says it shares so much DNA.
Right.
When Ryan Reynolds' video game characters, it's basically Fortnite the movie, we should point out. But when he picks up Captain America's shield, it cuts to the real Chris Evans going, yeah, he's super excited because he's watching
a little cameo. Yeah,
or
no kidding.
Mike, the other great cameo of the movie is Channing Tatum.
Wow.
That's right. I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty mediocre movie. And Adam Project, I didn't like that movie very much either. It's like a sci-fi movie.
So, but don't you think then that really does argue that Sean Levy is the right director to make a Deadpool movie, because he seems to be a guy who's only good at going, ooh, I could put a little cameo here, or I could put a little button or self-referential meta thing that the audience will just like eat up.
Yeah.
I mean, even Stranger Things is going like, look at Eggo waffles, look at arcade games, look at.
Yeah, I guess I just don't think he's a very like visually interesting director. Like he doesn't care about visuals at all. It's more just about. He's more of a writer's director, I guess, in that or an actor's director, because he allows his actors to improv a lot and stuff too. So
he allows them to direct the movie. I would argue Ryan Reynolds probably directed this movie.
Yeah.
So I guess they have a similar sense of humor, and I guess that's kind of what people wanted. I kind of prefer David Leitch, director of Deadpool 2. I thought that might be my favorite Deadpool movie out of the three of them, and I just like his other work too. So I don't know.
I wanted to ask you guys that at the end when we kind of break this thing down, how it stacks up with the other Pool movies, because it is the first Marvel one. And like with that comes some changes. Like it is R-rated, but like this is just like one thing I noticed after watching them all was this is the only one that opens and the opening credits are actually the cast and crew, where the other ones would be directed by some asshat. Like it was all fake titles, right? So
this is what
that had to be a studio note. Like you must have the names. Yeah.
My name is Kevin Feige. You will be writing that.
Produced by Kevin Feige. No jokes allowed for this part. The second one was like the assholes that killed John Wick's dog, I think was the director's credit. So like, I think it's good to like poke fun at yourself a little bit.
Some guy who has an ego problem starring, like something like that. Yeah.
But they do poke
fun
at the MCU.
The kid from Goonies when it's Josh Brolin.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
A Josh Brolin cameo would have been interesting in this movie, but
he said he wanted to return.
Yeah,
I want to talk
and obviously
about that
TJ Miller not coming back. There's issues there. The Weasel.
Right.
Yeah, which there are some characters watching these back to back. The first two are very much about like him and his relationship with Vanessa, and then building this family. And then to like not have Domino here, and like he's Domino, like, now I have a weird relationship with Vanessa, and it's like the whole second movie was you guys getting stoked about having a family. So that feels like a little bit of that development had to be pulled back or removed to set up the circumstance for this to exist. But what do you do with a merger?
Yeah, this is one of my big complaints of the movie, is that all the Deadpool characters are basically shunted off to the side. And they're like, okay, you have this one scene in the beginning and then like one scene at the end when they're all at that surprise party. But it's like, those are all the characters, all the Deadpool characters that they could get to come back. It's like they're barely in the movie. So it's really, I mean, it's less of a Deadpool movie. Obviously, it's more of a Deadpool and Wolverine team up. And Wolverine, of course, is a big part of the movie and arguably the part that more people were interested in anyway. So I would say it's even more of a Wolverine movie than a Deadpool movie for me anyway, because I care more about the Wolverine side of things.
Yeah, and we lose that whole family of the Deadpool. It's like Ant-Man 3. Like, we don't have his little heist crew anymore, and we were just starting to get used to them, and now they're gone. Yes. And I think that kind of hurt, at least for me, especially seeing them the same day.
Oh, absolutely. Not to get too ahead of the plot, we're just giving our first reaction.
This is the very status quo where we begin, so.
Yes, but the thing that would have saved this film for me at the ending would be if this entire film is about Wade making a choice that he has to sacrifice everything to keep his universe and loved ones alive, they should have to reconcile with that at the end. I would have liked to have seen a scene where they learn that. Maybe Peter tells Vanessa and Colossus and Negasonic and Yukio, and then they are all the ones who come at the end to fight the Deadpool Corp or help out Deadpool to say, you don't need to make this choice for us. You know, we love you too.
No, it was just Rob Delaney as his friend, but the rest of them do get kind of shafted where you have Negasonic Teenage Warhead,
Yukio,
all these characters. Yukio.
We love these characters.
Yeah, like I liked all
Colossus.
of them.
Yeah,
I love Colossus, so I really would have loved to see him. It is,
but you got to make room for Hugh Jackman, and that's a pretty important name too.
Right.
But that's my asterisk. It is Ant-Man 3. It's the least Deadpool feeling because it doesn't have those relationships that we built up for the first two movies. So
it's a good take, Mike. I like that.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that, and I have a lot of mixed feelings about this movie, so we'll get into it.
Yeah, where are you guys? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Because we talked a little bit about the critical reception. Mega fans seem to be just so upset. How dare anybody say this is a bad movie? The critical response is a 79% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, a 97% from audiences. Good. It's making $1 billion. That seems good to me. I would give this film a C+.
Yeah. I personally didn't like it very much. I'll just say that up top. Some things I liked. I would say it's a 2.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd for me. So, and the more I think about it, the less I like it. So,
fascinating.
Because you seemed a little hotter right after you saw it. You texted that, because again, you'd been the coldest going in, and you said, you know what, actually, but now it seems like you're like, no, you know what, actually, no.
I might have been a little biased, but I just feel like I have a lot of problems with it, and I just, we'll talk about it. But I mean, there are definitely some things I like, but it's not my favorite. Yeah,
Mike, what would you rate this?
Honestly, immediately coming out of the theater, maybe a 4 out of 5. I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of things that I didn't expect. I didn't really know any leaks for the cameos and stuff, and I was genuinely elated at moments, and some choices with the action, and there's stuff that I love in this movie, but it's also not perfect. I think structurally, I think there's a little bit of a villain issue, which we can get to, we'll walk through it, but 4 out of 5 when I left the theater, I was like, yo, this might be the best Deadpool movie. And then now that I was marinating on not having that family, I think it's a B-, C+, somewhere in there. Yeah. It has inconsistency, but it has very high highs, I'd say. Very high highs.
Yeah, I would say the plot is a big problem for me because I just think that there isn't much plot and it's sort of confusing what's even happening.
Reading the Wikipedia cleared up 3 plot points that I had no idea the film was expressing. And if the film can't communicate those ideas, probably not great. But,
Yeah. The plot itself just feels like it's thin because it's we don't give a shit. We just need Wolverine and Deadpool hanging out together. That was the last we don't really care about the plot. We just want hijinks with these characters.
Yes.
And I would say is that, I mean, I guess that is what people want considering how well this movie is doing, but it just kind of blows my mind that it's doing this well, but I just can't wrap my head around people really like this movie is up there. Like it's going to be one of the top MCU in terms of box office. It's going to be one of the top ones. Like not quite like Avengers Endgame or
But
Infinity
easily up
War,
there.
but definitely like top 5 when it's all
It's
said
somewhere
and
in the
done.
top 10 for opening weekend, and it's rated R too, which needs to be kind of underlined. Even with that, it's raking in the dough.
It's the highest. I believe the biggest opening weekend for a rated R movie ever now.
Wow.
It's the 5th biggest MCU opening. And you wouldn't believe. So obviously, Endgame and Infinity War are 1 and 2. Do you guys think you can guess what 3 and 4 are?
Black Panther.
I
like that guess.
No.
Oh,
Actually,
Spider-Man with all the Spider-Men.
No Way Home is one,
No Way
and then
Home.
the third one, the fourth one, it's gonna blow your mind what it is. It's
Guardians
Captain
3?
Marvel.
Oh,
Captain
no, it's
Marvel.
not. No, it's not.
It is. It's crazy. That movie had
Wow.
such a huge opening weekend. I don't know why.
The
but
first one.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that was
wild.
sort of some people thought it was going to be more directly related to the Avengers movies, and they were like, we need to see it because of that. Because it came out between Infinity War and Endgame, I believe.
Right.
Dang, it was
smart.
just drafting that hype. Yeah, smart.
Yeah. But yeah, huge opening weekend for the movie. It must have had a big fall off after week 1, though. But yeah, 5th biggest in MCU history. So
wow,
good job. Yeah.
And at the end, I want to ask you guys kind of about the MCU going forward. Colin, you were at Comic-Con. There was some big news, but I want to save that for later. But yeah, fans seem to be loving it. But like, how was your theater? Like, my theater was loving it. I went to the Alamo like I always do. Like, everybody was into it, and like, it was a good energy, which I'm not used to in the theater.
My theater was pretty good. I went at 11:30 a.m. on Friday. Wow. Very normal time to go to the movies. And it was actually, there was a pretty big audience there, and people were laughing and stuff. I was maybe I'm just more of a cynic now, but I was like, I appreciate that other people are laughing at this, but not everything they're laughing at is something that's working for me. So I was kind of more like, man, this isn't that funny. Like
shut up.
They're the Wade Wilson, you're the James Howlett. Like, why you laughing, bub? This isn't funny. Yeah.
I just want to sit at the bar and drink whiskey. Come on.
Jim Beam and Jack Daniels are the two I clocked. I used to drink Casamigos in Old Logan. I don't know why. I just pay attention to who's sponsoring. Heineken, too.
Yeah, you should be drinking Aviation Gin, like we said.
Absolutely. Now, that would be so funny to point that out. Nice brand, buddy.
I hate it. I hate these brands. Now, Mike, when you were at the Alamo, they famously play those turn your cell phones off. They did release one for Wolverine and Deadpool that they put online where it was like, turn your phone off, bub, you fucking moron, or whatever Hugh Jackman says. Did they play that for you?
Actually, I got that at the last movie I went to. This time it was just like a guy from It's Always Sunny. Just like, hey guys.
Was it Rob McElhaney?
No, it was the other guy.
Oh, interesting.
Because that would have been the Wrexham tie. Yeah, that would have.
Yeah. Well, there's a alleged McElhaney cameo that got cut. There's a picture of him on set, which we'll get into.
That was shown on. So they're friends, and they own a Welsh soccer team together.
That's right.
And they have a show called
these brands.
Welcome to Wrexham, which is sort of a reality show about them owning this Welsh soccer team. And in that show, there's an episode where he goes to the Deadpool and Wolverine set to shoot his cameo, but apparently that got cut from the final cut. So.
Man, that's a bummer.
So I have to ask you guys, because we're saying all this brand stuff. Mike, you made the Mint Mobile joke. We've talked Aviation Gin. Now we're talking about the fucking football league that this guy owns. Can we talk Ryan Reynolds for 2 seconds before we dive into this thing?
I think
because
so.
Jacob, you're saying like Deadpool's humor doesn't work for you. Now I will argue Deadpool no longer exists. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. Yeah, every movie he's in, it's what his gimmick is. Does that work for you? I know you were just saying you don't like Free Guy, but is there anyone where you're like, well, that's my Ryan Reynolds movie?
This is what I was wondering at the beginning. That's the thought that I lost. So
here we go.
Here we are,
Mike.
Like 2006.
You had a knife in your head, Mike Pool. You just pulled it out. Your brain's regenerating.
Exactly right. So now we're good. Like 2006, 7, whatever. The time when like Blade Trinity comes out, and then like we have Waiting. I remember watching Waiting and Blade Trinity and being like, this guy could be Deadpool. I guess he makes jokes and he's buff and could do action. Sure, why not? So to see that journey, but Deadpool really has become just Ryan Reynolds at this point. Yeah, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't for me.
I like the
Yeah.
rom-com Definitely Maybe. I don't know if you guys ever saw that.
Mm,
That's like a
never
cute little
seen that.
film. I don't know.
I'm
I will
having a hard
say,
time liking Ryan Reynolds' humor sometimes. But yeah, go ahead, Jacob.
yeah,
You love
that's the
Red
thing is
Notice,
his
Jacob. You love
off-screen.
his Netflix original fare. You love that
Yeah.
one that Michael Bay did, SEAL Team 6 or whatever it's called, where they're like
Sure.
dead rich millionaires or whatever the fucking premise is.
No, I think Ryan Reynolds has one of the worst filmographies of any
Whoa.
actor. If you look at it, I mean,
Zack Snyder
has
of
he ever
comedic
been
actors.
in a good movie?
Has he
Oh,
ever
man.
been in a good
In
movie?
a good one?
So
Life.
how
Ryan
about
Reynolds?
Safe House with Denzel Washington? Have you seen
Never
like
seen
any
it.
of his kind of serious affair?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I
Okay.
guess not. I mean, I would need to
Buried,
look
that
at.
movie where it's just
Oh,
him
sure.
buried in a coffin underground. Mike, have you ever
I
seen
guess.
No, that sounds like the phone booth, but sideways.
that?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
Keep the budget
I mean,
down.
It does. It does. You're right.
It's the 5th act of Kill Bill Volume 1.
It came out right when there was that Tom Hardy movie, Jacob's favorite actor, where it's just him in a car. Where they just started making these movies where it was, what if it was just one guy? Where I remember thinking, well, that's not a movie.
No, that's a film project for film
Yeah.
school. But
Yeah, I'm
Life,
looking at
that
Ryan.
sci-fi movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and Rebecca Ferguson.
I haven't seen that.
I like
Isn't that
Blade
sort of just like an
Trinity.
alien clone?
I
Yeah,
like
guess
Waiting.
Blade
I think Waiting's maybe his best movie, Mike. I think you're maybe right
Waiting.
there.
I don't know how
Yeah.
well that one holds up either.
Dane Cook's in it, so we got to watch out.
Yeah, it's
think
probably
it
a
was
lot
pretty-
of 2000s
You're
humor.
telling me Waiting is less accurate than The Bear? Like, fuck
No,
you,
Waiting
Jacob.
is very accurate because
Yeah.
I mean all that stuff like putting your pubes in people's food and stuff when they're rude to you and like spitting in it, like that, I think that is a real thing. That's why I'm never rude to like restaurant staff.
Ever.
Never.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't like his off-screen
Maybe
persona.
the worst
don't like
filmography of all time.
Of
What
any like
a
major
point to make.
like
Gotta
find a
clip it out of
major like
context.
star level actor that has a worse filmography than Ryan Reynolds.
Can I say The Breakthrough then?
Yeah.
How about this? Are you guys fans of Van Wilder?
No.
Whoa.
I
Yes, at
think
the
it's
time,
fun.
Probably not now. Was he good
to me,
luck,
Van
Chuck?
Wilder was like a worse version of American
No, that's
Pie.
Dane Cook, Mike.
Fuck Dane Cook. Yeah, they had a similar trajectory.
Dane
for
Cook.
a minute.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. Dane Cook could have been Deadpool in another universe. That would have
Yeah.
been an interesting multiversal Deadpool. Mike.
Let him cook, so to speak. Yeah,
Dane
no,
Pool.
thanks.
No,
Yeah.
Van Wilder to
Deadpool.
me, from what I remember, is just a worse version of American Pie. So if I'm gonna watch American Pie
Whoa.
or the American Pie movies,
You're not wrong.
Boy, that's mean. I don't know, Jacob.
It could be
Huh.
mean and
That's-
true, I think.
It's expanding my mind. You're right. Yes.
Look, I'm just a Ryan Reynolds hater. I don't like his off-screen persona. I don't like his like dumb jokes on Twitter or whatever.
Fuck Wrexham. Fuck Mint Mobile. Fuck aviation.
I do
shit.
like
I hate
all
the
the
way that you
Wrexham
walk.
All that shit. Yeah.
I don't like Mac from Always Sunny like got way more Hollywood when he started hanging out with Ryan Reynolds, and I feel
That's
like
what
the
everybody
other
says.
actors resent him
Don't
for
like
it
him
now.
anymore. Yes, I've heard all
Um,
that shit too.
But here's my thing: Ryan Reynolds, he's the Wario of Ryan Gosling. Two Canadian Ryans, one that is a good actor and is in good movies, and one that is in not good movies.
Dude.
That's what I always thought, like, because I always used to get them confused because they're two like generically handsome.
the Canadian
Ryans, Canadian Ryans, except one pretends he's from New York and the other is Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah, but Ryan
Wow.
Gosling is like in good movies, so
Mhm.
I love when I
I'm
was a
on-
kid, he was on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Ryan Reynolds. I don't know. I love him. I love him. I don't know, Jacob. He doesn't
Wow.
work for me at all,
Maybe
but
I'm just
for
a
some
hater.
reason, I like him.
he doesn't work for me at all, but I like him. Interesting.
Wow. I mean, watching Deadpool 1 and 2, like Deadpool 1 felt like Waiting's era. Like it felt like this is like a little too like 14-year-old humor, and then Deadpool 2 was a little bit toned down but still funny. And so
Yeah.
like there's times where his brand doesn't hit. And this I think strikes a pretty good balance. I was less like annoyed, though I did try to take a drink every time he made a sex joke, and I needed 2 beers to do it. I took
Yeah.
tiny sips too. There's a lot of sex jokes.
I was
which,
kind
whatever,
of
you know?
annoyed. Yeah, I mean, Deadpool as a character, at least the film Deadpool, only has 2 jokes, and it's either some kind of crude sex joke.
Fuck me or fuck you. I mean, it's I'm going to
Yeah.
fuck you or you're going to fuck me is typically what the jokes are.
Yeah, but it's either sexual jokes or fourth wall breaking. And that's all of his jokes can be broken down into those two categories, essentially.
Why wouldn't he make a joke about how he used to be married to Black Widow?
Wow, yeah, you know what? There's some stuff in here that was missed opportunity. Yeah.
There's some stuff that seems like he was dancing around.
You know what I also don't like is that here's the thing. I like both Deadpool 1 and 2. I thought they were pretty good when I saw them. I haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah.
I kind of liked his Green Lantern movie.
Wow.
And,
that's a nuclear take, Jacob.
Well, I like Green Lantern as a character. I'm more DC guy.
Yeah, I do too. That's why I don't like that movie.
But here's the thing. He's been shitting on that movie like on Twitter. He's like, I would rather watch Paw Patrol for 24 hours straight than watch Green Lantern with my family. And I was like, Mr. Reynolds, you've been in worse movies than Green Lantern.
He 100% is. That is his cross to bear in the same way that George Clooney in every interview is allowed to bring up that he is the worst Batman. That's just like, that is their fun little story to be like an entry point of like, I'm a flawed guy. Remember when I was in that bad thing? Ha ha ha. Now never bring it up again. And I am a multi-billionaire. And you're like,
he's gonna,
okay.
But Ryan Reynolds has multiple movies where he could do that. Like, X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is a way worse movie to me than Green Lantern. But
Can I bring up real quick? Do you guys know the multiversal name that fans have given to that Deadpool specifically?
Oh no, what is it?
No, Silent Pool.
Two names: the merc with no mouth, Jacob, and Mike. You'll like this as a Mortal Kombat guy, Baraka Pool.
Baraka Pool because of the
he's got those weird blades. Yeah.
I've also heard Dino, Deadpool in name only.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But that I think was stolen from the Devil May Cry fandom when they did that weird reboot that probably 10 listeners know what I'm talking about.
I mean, props for him for being like, I really want to make a good Deadpool movie, and then like basically leaking that footage and getting it made because of that. So
people say you should be Deadpool. You're like, I should be Deadpool. The studio agrees. And you get there, Jacob, after reading all these comic books, and they go, there's no script. You're just going to say whatever you say when Hugh Jackman's over there, and there's characters like the Blob, except he's skinny, and like Mike said, one of the Black Eyed Peas has literally just decided he wants to be in this and has made up a mutant character he wants to play as. And then they hand you a red T-shirt, and you say, what's this? And they say, this is your costume. You're like, well, this isn't Deadpool. And they're like, no, we're embarrassed about that. That would break your heart. Like, that would drive you to be like, well, no, I do need to do this right.
Yeah.
And this wasn't an era where Fox with the X-Men movies was just making terrible decision after terrible decision.
They were embarrassed.
They wanted to make X-Men Origins spin-off. They wanted to make more of them. They were going to make a Magneto one.
Storm, I think.
A Gambit one with a certain actor. And because of the failure of that movie, the Wolverine movie, those never got made. And I always thought that's a shame because of this one bad movie. Like, they had all these X-Men spin-offs that never got made. So,
I mean, we'll talk that. Yeah. Ranks right up there with any of these shitty Sony Spider-Man spin-off. You know, like, it's equally
100%.
It's at least
Sony basically inherited the we make bad decisions with our superheroes from Fox of like
Madam Web or X-Men Origins.
Yeah.
Oh geez. Yeah. And that so being said, 10 years trying to make a good one, right? But anyway,
I saw a Venom 3 trailer in front of this movie that I'll say, you know what? Pretty excited.
I did not get a Venom 3 trailer. Really? That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Dang, I just got the Captain America New World
You guys
Order.
didn't get the Venom 3. That's crazy.
I got Captain America.
I got Captain America.
Nice.
But yeah, I think it could be the
I'm
best
the president.
Movie, so.
It's cool that they got a president that's of appropriate age, ancient.
And that's played a president in a movie before.
It's me from Air Force One. I'm still the president.
Get off my plane. Yeah.
Get off my Marvel.
Get off my Hulk.
Get off my flying Captain America.
Limited edition Red Hawk, now available at Target. Get away from it.
You might be Captain America, but you're not.
It's Deadpool Hulk. That's why he's red.
That's right. But you're not. Yeah.
Steve.
Chris Evans.
Well, we get a Hulk in this movie. So I say if we got all those general thoughts out, we can keep. Jacob can keep dragging Ryan Reynolds' name through the mud as we talk about this. I'll give you a chance to shoot at his wife too when we get to the end here.
Yeah.
Let's start going through the plot here. Deadpool and Wolverine.
By the way, I figured out how to fourth wall break a podcast. You tell them that there's a video, but the video wasn't videoed until 10 minutes in. That's the big joke. So there you go,
there we
listeners.
go.
We're good to go now. But
you got
gotcha.
tricked. Wow. You got tricked, listeners.
The toggle was off, but the audio was good, so we're still chilling. Yeah, so let's go for it.
Let's go for it. So we're talking the plot here now, Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, it starts, we said, with them exhuming Logan, literally the film.
Yeah.
We have Deadpool digging up Logan here. Now, Mike, I said this to Jacob. We did break our little bit of rule of talking about this film. Jacob picked me up from the airport here today, and we talked 2 seconds about this film. But I asked him the same thing I'm going to ask you now of, does it bug you that this movie, even though it is the third one to do it, all the other Deadpool films did as well, but starts with a, I bet you're wondering how I got here moment?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fine if like that's, again, maybe Ryan Reynolds only has a couple ways to do things, but I wasn't bothered by that so much.
Okay.
I was more bothered that the credits were real, but I do like, I thought it was a brave and smart choice to literally open it with digging up the grave of Wolverine, to just cut all that criticism, all the legs out from under it. Like, that's exactly what we're doing. Like, smart choice. Like, I am going to desecrate the memory of Logan, quote unquote. If that's what you believe, here it is. Like, I thought that was pretty clever way to open.
You're right.
I didn't
like
like
Jacob.
I didn't
rebuttal.
Wow.
Here's the thing. I get that, like, yeah, it's supposed to be like super over the top and like, yeah, we're like desecrating the memory of Logan, but like having just rewatched Logan the other night, I was like, man,
don't do that to my boy.
I don't know. I don't like
you just
this.
like
like
Logan
they're spitting
so
on
much.
the memory of this movie. It's like that's like such a sad, emotional movie, and then to just like be like, you know what, fuck that movie. We're gonna have a whole fight scene.
It started the discussion of, can comic book films be of high quality enough to ever win awards or critical acclaim?
Yeah.
Was Logan. And this film goes, what if I pee on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Logan is one of the few superhero movies that I think it like does transcend the genre and like become like a real good movie.
It's a Western.
Yeah. And this movie is just like, yeah, I'm gonna just take a giant shit all over that. And I get that that's like the joke, but I also kind of felt like I don't like this so much. I don't know.
It's not a nice joke. I understand it. It doesn't make
Eminem,
it good.
you got to make fun of yourself before they can. Like, that's what they like.
I know.
I think that is clever, Mike. I didn't consider that when I was watching it, but that point of being obviously Ryan Reynolds, because again, he's such a fucking media mogul. The way this film was announced was it's him on a couch saying, on his Twitter, he posted a video saying, we're making Deadpool 3. By the way, the title is Deadpool and Wolverine. Isn't that right, Hugh? And Hugh's like walking up the stairs in the back and goes, I guess. And just like, that's how he agrees to be in it.
Yep.
The first comments on that video, as Mike is aptly pointing out, were, that's going to ruin Logan. That's going to ruin Logan. That's going to ruin Logan. But the ending of Logan is, but is it a different Logan? Is it this? Is it that? Is it this? And this film really does tackle that question head on. And it is kind of the plot of this movie is that it is that Logan, but we can't use that Logan. So we need another
Well, it is
Logan.
A different Logan.
Exactly.
The Logan in this. And that's another problem that I have is that none of the Logan stuff didn't work for me so much in this movie because it's not that same Logan that went through everything that he went through in the X-Men movies. Like, it's a totally different Logan that we've never seen before.
It's one that's gone through stuff we've never related to. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
But like with the way the multiverse works and stuff, like that's a totally different guy. Like he didn't have any of those memories. Like, yeah, he had his own Charles Xavier and characters and everything. So I guess it's the same character. He just is just mildly different. But yeah, I don't know.
I get that there's a lack of connection, and like Colin said, how did I get here? Like, this is Deadpool's trying to find a Logan because like he needs a prime Logan for his universe or whatever. So he's first trying to find the Logan from that universe, which is actually dead, and then now we go through this whole thing of finding an alternate
fight scene.
We backtrack. He gets this great fight scene set to bye. He's singing the
206
song.
bones in the human body, uses the bones. Yeah.
Uses the claws. Very cool fight sequence. But then we're backtracking to where is Deadpool in his life before he gets to that moment. And this is where we said the sad stuff. He's broken up with Vanessa. He's quit being Deadpool. I guess we should say this is the first thing that's clarified for me. I didn't understand this. The first scene, technically the first thing we see in this movie is, I didn't know this. Wikipedia says he uses Cable's time machine device to go to Happy Hogan in 2018. I didn't understand that he was using the time machine device to do that, and this is where he interviews for the Avengers.
It's confusing because but if you remember at the end of Deadpool 2, he goes back and like kills he kills the version of him in X-Men Origins Wolverine, and like he goes to all these different.
He kills Ryan Reynolds, who's doing.
He kills literally Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
So I understand that, but like, I don't understand. It's a time machine, but isn't Happy Hogan in a different universe or like a different timeline?
This says he leaves Earth 1005, which is the Deadpool universe, to go to 616, the sacred timeline, to interview here. Again, I didn't understand any of that. When I watched this, I was like, oh, he has a Happy Hogan in his universe. When I was immediately like, oh, they're just going to pretend, starting out here, first scene, that he's always been in the Marvel movies that we've been watching. I was like, that's confusing.
Yeah.
I knew that it was a different. It was a different universe. I knew that because Deadpool is in the X-Men universe, right? Because of course we've had X-Men cameos in the first 2 Deadpools.
Yes.
So to me, all the X-Men movies and the Deadpool movies all take place in the same universe.
Yeah. The plan was because he later confesses to Vanessa that he didn't get this job that he basically applied for in this funny scene where he talks about smasturbating, which is using Hulk hands to smash your dick while you masturbating. But so was the plan that they would move to the 616 universe, or that would just be his day job, would be time hopping, or something? I don't know. Like, what is this?
It doesn't make sense if you think about it too much, because he's a different universe, but he knows everything that happened in the MCU.
Well, he knows everything.
Who the Hulk is.
He knows the Hulk, Jacob. He knows the fourth wall. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Oh my God.
And then when he's having this scene with Jon Favreau, Happy Hogan.
Why is this here? This is the emotional crux of the film, is that he's denied entry into the Avengers. Why would this be your starting place?
Yeah. And here's what I don't get, because he's talking about like, oh, I wanted to meet with like the big man, which I assume is like Kevin Feige, right? But you're meeting with a character in the MCU who's like the assistant to he's like, oh yeah, he doesn't do that. He doesn't have these meetings. I have the meeting, then I tell him. And it's like, Kevin Feige?
No, because Happy answers, I started out as his driver. So he's implying that what he means is Tony, but obviously, yes, I would agree with you that Deadpool is talking about Kevin Feige.
Metaphorically,
I was confused because I didn't know it was like in the past, so I thought Iron Man was dead. So I was like, who are they even talking about?
Again, Wikipedia, this could be absolute lies, but the film does not spell out any of this. Yeah.
So that's pre Endgame, I guess. So Iron Man is still alive.
I was confused too, because having watched Deadpool 2 like 10 minutes before I got to the theater, it was like, is this a different universe? Because this doesn't line up with any, like, not being with Vanessa anymore. It's like all you wanted to do was have babies and start a family. Now you're like, I want to matter.
You died for her.
Yeah, and brought her back to life with your time machine. Like,
And her response in this is like, well, you're just not committed enough. And it's like, what? To what? I died for you.
Dead for you.
Yeah, you died, and I changed the universe for you. That is commitment.
Yeah, so it felt inconsistent. I'm like, is this a different? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the setup of the plot, I agree with you, Jacob, and Colin too. You know, it's stilted and it's goofy. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
it's confusing.
That's what I'm saying. Like this movie, the plot, it doesn't even really matter because people just want to see Deadpool and Wolverine together, and it's like it doesn't make sense if you think about it. And especially when we talk about Paradox and the TVA and what's going on with that, it makes even less sense to me. So.
Oh, I can't.
Well, now I'm like, yeah, what season of Loki would this be in? Like, you know?
Well, right. Like, is this after Loki season 2?
If it's after season 2, then there's nothing to worry about.
The Void looks very different than, when Loki was in it. Is that a result of him now being the master of the multiverse? I have no clue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it. So we meet Paradox, which is a sort of someone who works the TVA, seems to be like a rogue agent who's broken off from the TVA, is trying to do his own thing. I don't even know what he's trying to do. He was recruiting Deadpool. He's like,
I asked Jacob this, Mike.
Is decaying. Yeah.
I would love to know, and I have the answer here now, and I will read it. But Mike, what would you say Mr. Paradox is trying to do with Deadpool? Or what is the plot of him in this movie? Yeah.
Right. My understanding is basically he wants to use Deadpool to help him get whatever to finish his time chopper machine because he's like, we've gone too soft. We need to be pruning hardcore. So he's like, look, if you help me get this pruning thing popping, I'll put you in the 616 and you can fucking be an Avenger. It'll be tight, dude. So like, help me get to hardcore pruning, man. We got too many timelines.
But what does he want from Deadpool?
That's what I don't know he wants. So what does the wiki say?
Here's the thing. Here's what I thought the plot was, is that he was maybe hiring him to kill or keep an eye on Cassandra Nova, although that's never obviously explained because their meeting is cut so short.
Mm-hmm.
But no, obviously he has pyro for that, spoilers. But what it says here in the Wikipedia is that literally he captures Wade and brings him to Mr. Paradox, who offers him a place in the 616 and reveals to Deadpool that he has a higher purpose and that it is important that he goes to that place. Now, we're never revealed that. Obviously, he gets a glimpse of it in that he sees that Thor cries for him.
Yeah.
It's this moment that he's obsessed with. So is this a future moment? This is literally so what is this?
I thought that was a moment from Endgame that they just like put him over Tony Stark's face or something. I didn't know what that was.
They said it in TVA like, oh, this doesn't happen for a long, long time. He's not supposed to see this. Like, turn off that channel. So it's implied that's
so they're just foreshadowing something that's going to happen in a future Avengers
Deadpool
movie.
is important, and that's why he's obsessed and says, "I'm Marvel Jesus." And I guess literally this agrees.
He's not the anchor being of his timeline, as we find out, because that's Logan, right? So every timeline has an anchor being that is like super important to that timeline existing, and if that person dies, then the timeline decays. That's what this movie is saying, right?
How does time work in that when one person dies, a timeline dies? But so Wade learns this as he's being explained that he's Marvel Genius. He says, "Well, what will happen to my timeline?" They say, "Oh, don't worry about that. It will just deteriorate and die. That's why we need to move you to the 616." But I ask you guys this because if that's literally what the Wikipedia says is the reason for it, that Mr. Paradox is like, well, I have to move you to this timeline, to that timeline. He is the one who gets the stick later and voids them both and sends Wolverine and Deadpool to the void, implying that he really doesn't need him or that he's like not important, right? So that does not line up with the plot.
Because I presume Logan was the anchor being for the Deadpool X-Men Prime universe. So when Logan died, that's deteriorating. We got to get you out of here, Deadpool. But yeah, then he's just like, I don't need you. So yeah, that makes no sense, Colin. I didn't even think
that makes no sense to what they present as the plot. So
also, Logan died like 8 years ago, and that universe still existed. But
well, Tony was the anchor, and it's still kind of hanging on our side.
Because Logan is set in 2029, which I remember rewatching it. So it's actually
but again, how does time work? It backwards erases. I mean, it just like if he dies, like it all ceases to exist. That doesn't make any sense. Marvel now in these later films love to throw in. I don't know what to call them because obviously there's like the writing term of like a MacGuffin is the thing you seek. A red herring is a thing that's like the misdirect, right? What do you call these weird Marvel like keystones that they build these movies around where they're like, they introduce one principle for one movie that they never address again in the madness of the multiverse. When you go to sleep, you dream your other lives and we all have dream walking abilities. And you're like, that's nonsense. You're a temporal being who's the anchor of your it's like nonsense.
Stop.
What are you fucking saying?
Without any knowledge of Loki season 2 and what happened in that season, because I mean, didn't that end with Loki being the master of time and
he's
controlling
keeping it all together
now, basically?
Right.
So we don't need to prune timelines anymore. Where's Owen Wilson?
We don't need to rip
What's
them.
he doing? Yeah.
So Mr. Paradox later says he doesn't agree with these new philosophies or protocols. He wants to speed up the destruction of timelines. But again, to your point, TVA as we know it has stopped ripping timelines. And I got to ask you guys, like, do you think any of this works if you haven't seen these other shows? Obviously, the strength of the Marvel Universe is that it's tied to the 50 fucking projects and you have to watch them all to understand it. But if you were just some maniac who only watched the Deadpool movies and something called the Time Variance Authority came out, what the fuck would you think any of this is?
You would definitely be confused. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's completely fucking crazy because even we watch this stuff and we don't understand it. And like we know B-15 apparently got a promotion now too, so it has to be after Loki season 2.
Right.
So what the fuck are we doing?
I was thinking, yeah, you have to have seen basically all the
Loki
Wolverine
1 and
movies,
2.
all the Deadpool movies, Loki season 1 and 2,
Fantastic Four,
Fantastic Four,
the X-Men movies.
And I was thinking about like,
Elektra,
if you were someone who had
Deadpool,
never
Blade.
seen any, like if you were my mom
Blade?
going to see this movie, how confused would you be? And
Yeah.
I think pretty confused because I don't think my mom's ever seen any of those movies. So now why would
yet
you go see
mine
this movie if you
texted me,
haven't?
loved it, 4 exclamation points.
Sure. Well,
which is crazy that much
just like the
prerequisite
Ryan Reynolds
media
humor.
is required. I wish I could
I know.
forget all that stuff, like have, Kamir, make me forget it all and go in blind to watch this just to see what it would be like, because it is confusing.
But I think, Colin, what you were saying before, like something will get introduced in one movie and then never addressed again. And I think that's just a side effect of having different creative teams working on different movies and stuff. And that's sort of like, well, yeah, this universe, it's never going to be perfect because it is so big and expansive now, and you can't retcon things that happened in the past. So it's like every movie could have consequences for a future movie that you don't even know about. So sometimes you just have to, sometimes things are just not going to fit together.
Throw out the zaniest phrasing and wording to justify whatever you need to in your movie. You're
Right.
100% right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'll just give away my thought on this topic, but I think Paradox is correct. We need way less timelines. We need to stop with this timeline.
Yes.
He was correct.
Yes, I agree with Mr. Paradox here.
Delete them
that's
all.
something that I think these
This
eventual
kind of touches on
Avengers
that.
movies is going
Yeah.
to address in terms of the end of this phase, this multiverse saga.
Mistake.
And obviously
mistake.
these Avengers movies, it's all in flux because it was supposed to be Kang and now it's someone else, right? So it's
And
all
gonna be
getting
a billion different
reshaped,
Kangs.
right? Yeah. So it made more sense when it was the Kangs, and there's different variants of Kangs.
Deadpool,
again, we'll talk about
the post-credit scene of this movie should have been a Deadpool explaining Jonathan Majors' lawsuit and why Kang will not be appearing in these future films.
They say we
man.
got one more job
Deadpool
for
in
you.
a suit.
And he just goes to the Council of Kangs and launches a nuke.
Sorry, you're fired. You're out. You're out.
Yeah.
Here's a joke I thought would have been funny to me, probably not to many other people, but you have Paradox in here, Matthew McFadden, right?
Mhm.
Matthew McFadden, however you say his name, Tom Gams, right? From Succession, my favorite show. What if you had Brian Cox come in as Stryker from the X-Men movies?
That's right.
And he goes to Paradox and says, "Fuck off."
Fuck off, Paradox.
That would have been funny to me. And
how do you
other
not get
Succession
that in
fans,
there?
But yeah.
That would be great. Yeah, and then Stryker's
Marvel-
like, I'm cutting timelines. Fuck off.
Fuck off.
Yeah, that would have been
Yeah.
amazing. And that would have been a perfect meta joke for Deadpool. So
Yes, that's a good point. So the plot is nonsense, and I am on Paradox's side. Delete as many timelines as possible.
yeah,
No more.
But I didn't know Tom Gams was going to be in this. I mean, we all love Tom Gams.
Oh, the classic Marvel casting of a TV person that's popping at the moment, like when they took that Ted Lasso guy and made him Hercules in the Thor movie for that 1 second. Remember where you're like,
I would
what?
say he's not even popping in the moment because Succession ended a year ago, and he was not even like one of the major actors. Like they should have got Jeremy Strong.
Are you insane? Well, one, Jacob, do you think we will ever get Jeremy Strong, the most insane actor ever in a Marvel movie? That would be incredible.
That would be pretty funny.
I actually am a Silver Surfer. Okay, if you say so, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's him and it's Kieran Culkin. Those are the big names to come out of that, not Matthew McFadden.
No, this is a perfect level role for somebody like that.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I guess.
But,
I mean, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, it's I didn't see Succession, so I don't have as much like affinity, but
You guys
I like
aren't Succession heads like me.
No, I'm sorry.
You're not Succession pilled.
No, I'm not Succession pilled, but Deadpool decides, fuck this, steals the little remote, and just goes looking for Wolverines, and then we get this fun, depending on, was it fun, the montage of all the different Wolverines. What did you think of him hopping around?
It was fun. It was fun enough, but here's my question before that.
Yeah.
Why is Deadpool, explain this to me, Colin, with your Wikipedia, why is Deadpool trying to get why does he need a Logan to help him?
So he comes to the conclusion of, if you're telling me the anchor being of my universe is that particular Logan, the Logan who stars in the film Logan, and it's not me, which hurts Deadpool's feelings, then obviously if I steal your TemPad, which I do believe he says the words, which again, if you have not seen Loki, you're like, what the fuck is this? Then I'll just go looking for Wolverine, and obviously I'll bring him back here and ask you if that means that my universe can be saved. And that's when literally he goes, no, you brought the worst one here, and zaps them both. But let's let's talk about this cameo role real quick, because I loved this as a comic book fan. We get a lot of Austin.
A lot of references to real comic book Logans.
And literally, because Deadpool can just say things of, you're Wolverine in the John Byrne brown suit, you know, like calling out the artist and saying, oh, you're in the classic, that's incredible turn, where it's literally him doing the Wolverine John Byrne cover where you see the reflection of Hulk in the adamantium claws. Boom, Deadpool gets punched by Hulk. Great, you know, references to the first appearance of Wolverine, which is of course against the Hulk. I mean, it was just swimming with this fucking shit. I'm in hog heaven at this point.
There's the one where he's like,
I elbowed sitting on a porch next to me, unfortunately, when the Age of Apocalypse guy came in. Wait, which guy does he shoot?
When he's sitting, there's the I don't know if it's Old Man Logan or what, but he's sitting on a porch.
Old Man Logan.
That's right. That is Old Man Logan.
Shotgun. Okay, I thought so. Yeah.
What did you guys think of comic accurate height Wolverine?
Oh, that was very funny. I mean, that joke's been floating around, so to finally get a height accurate short king Wolverine.
Tiny little short king comes out.
Yeah,
he's a short king.
You get Patch, who I never heard of, but that was leaked that we were going to have a scene with him.
A gambling persona.
We got to talk about
Crazy Cross.
The craziest one, the Henry Cavill Wolverine.
Cavill-Reen,
which was just bizarre.
Well, people were saying he could be Wolverine when Hugh was retired, so it makes sense. But it's also like a funny, like, fuck you, DC. Like, look at me in a Marvel thing. Like,
we'll treat you better than those guys up the street. Yeah,
and he does the Mission Impossible thing when he busts his claws out, loads his arms.
He does. He cocks his guns, Mike.
So
from Superman to Wolverine, Superman to Geralt, the trivia.
That's
Wolverine.
A depressing fall, in my opinion. But Mike, how hyper aware or fixated on these fan castings are Kevin Feige and the Marvel crew, in that this is the second one they've felt that they needed to play to with the Reed Richards, John Krasinski casting, which was obviously a huge fan casting.
Right.
Yeah, and that's kind of the difference between this and Multiverse of Madness, and we'll get to some of the other cameos. But like, I think that Henry Cavill, fun, whatever. He's jacked. Ladies are loving it, whatever. But there's one that they do here later in this movie that succeeds way better than anything in Multiverse of Madness. Like, as John Krasinski being a stunt, there's one later that I was not expecting, and it completely lands and kind of.
I know what one you're talking about for sure. That it
so
is
they successfully pull it off later.
I'd say there's two that are interesting to me that we'll talk about. But
this was just a nice treat.
Yeah.
How about the one that was getting crucified? And it's just they're standing on a mountain of skulls. I didn't understand what one that was.
There's like an Uncanny X-Men cover that it looks like that. I looked it up.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
It's a sick pull. Yeah.
And I appreciate for the all the comic fans out there that are getting all those references and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that, this movie, like I said off pod, it's I would compare it to Spider-Man No Way Home and The Flash, and I think it's somewhere between those movies. So it's not as bad as The Flash, but it's not as good to me as No Way Home. And I think the cameos in No Way Home actually worked a lot, probably better than this movie and any other movie that I've seen, because those cameos actually had an important story role.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And Mike, this is for you too. Have we all just only seen that Spider-Man film in theaters? Because I have not rewatched it, and I wonder if it holds up.
Yeah, I've only seen it that one time.
Same. I've only seen it that one time, but I do think just off memory, like the characters are integrated into the story in a more organic way than they are here.
Yeah,
and there is a story to that one.
But Mike, that was a film. It was like the first film we all saw after COVID. We were truly like riding a high out of our minds. It was like the Spider-Man you love are back, and I just remember being like, "This is the greatest movie ever." It's like there's no way it can be good.
Even thinking about it now, I'm like, I understand why those people exist more than I understand why certain characters exist in this movie. So it's still easier to understand and it makes more sense for the story. And I do think it like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield have some purpose in the story more than just like a scene, right? They're in a lot more of the movie. And even the villains, of course, the Raimi villains and stuff that cross over, like those are the villains of the movie. So I think even though I want to rewatch it, but I think it'll hold up better than you might think.
I'll say structurally, it feels stronger when I think about it than this does, as far as integrating those elements for sure. But it's a comedy, so I think it can get away with a lot.
Yeah,
it's unbalanced because it's just a comedy anyway. Like goofy shit's fine.
Sure. But so they get zapped to the void, which should we?
Well, we find shittiest Logan. Finally.
Yeah. Let's talk about that real quick. So I hop over to one who's just sitting in a bar drinking. Okay, this one seems more approachable. And he's just a drunk asshole who can't get his claws out. Deadpool teases him a little bit before this guy passes out. And then a little hint of what's coming, in that he's wearing kind of a similar flannel to you, Mike. But as Deadpool's picking up his drunk little body, he goes, "Ooh, you're wearing something interesting under your clothes here."
Yeah.
And that's when we bring him back to the TVA.
Yes.
Here's the thing about this though, like he's the worst Logan and all this. He's not really that different from the Logan that we know from the X-Men movies. Like Hugh Jackman's basically playing him as the same character essentially, but he's got some kind of trauma from his past where he let the X-Men die or like didn't help them or something.
He went to the bar and because he was pissed off and then just wasn't there when they got attacked and he blames himself. But like if they could wreck all the X-Men, like you probably couldn't have done much, bub. But he has a lot of grief over that.
Who was it?
Yeah.
What did they do? That's crazy.
They said human mutant hunters. Like, what are they using?
Yeah. We see inside his brain, and I guess it's supposed to be like maybe a moment. It's when Cassandra's touching him. We'll talk about all this, but when he's standing kind of by those monuments. But I don't understand what that has to do with what sort of promise he's broken or horrific event he's tied to.
Like, that's all I could think. It's like the gravesite of all the X-Men that went.
I don't know. Again, his traumas and things seems very just similar to the traumas that the other Logan had.
To put it into Rick and Morty parlance, Jacob, and I have to do this because Michael Waldron, all these writers that Kevin Feige has sucked up from the Rick and Morty writers room, who seem to have crafted this whole multiversal thing, and obviously that's a multiversal show, but they have the concept of Doofus Rick, who is like the worst Rick, right? And that he's so opposite of what he is. He's a moron. And he's like, just like not good at anything or whatever. So to say you're the worst Wolverine and that he let down his whole world, I mean, that has to be one that's like, duh, I'm like the worst Wolverine. I like killed my mom. And just like fucked up like 1,000 different, getting drunk at a bar. Truly, like you're saying, I guess what
Logan
makes him worse than the one in Logan who's like, well, I wasn't there when, Charles had a seizure and fucking killed everybody. It's like...
If you remember, that's the plot of Logan, is that Charles basically killed a lot of the X-Men by accident because he has a degenerative brain disorder.
Seizure, it's a big deal,
Right.
It's like, is that how they all died? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they say mutant hunters, but like... There's been, in the comics, I'm not an expert, but like moments where he's been like brain controlled and murdered the X-Men himself. Like that seems like what would result in the worst Logan. Like one who actively killed his friends, even if it was...
One that's still feral, one that's just like a monster. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, Colin, like even if he was there, like what could he... Wolverine's not the strongest X-Man. Like we know, like he's a strong X-Man, but he's not like Magneto level or Jean Grey level or
he's not an Omega level threat.
Yeah,
he's not even Gambit level. Like because Gambit from the show is Omega level,
and we see what kind of threat is in this. Yes, absolutely.
To my heart.
So
right.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
again, what they want to give us is, what if Fox, Wolverine, and Deadpool hung out? So we have to have this watered down Fox. It might be the same bar from X-Men 1. I can't remember directly, but
Sure.
it's like literally like, here's just X-Men 1 Wolverine, but sadder.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess this is my problem with Wolverine in this movie. Like, I like seeing Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. Obviously, that's great and everything. But if he's not the same character, then it doesn't have the same emotional stakes to me. Like when he meets, spoiler alert, Laura, right? X-23, Jackie, whatever you want to call her.
He's explained to why she is important.
Yeah,
Deadpool says, "Remember, I told you why she matters to you," and you're like.
Right.
Huh? Like, as
there's
a watcher, you're like, no, that's not how movies work. You can't.
So they try to have an emotional scene with them at some point. It's like, this girl means nothing to, like, you've never met her in your life, so you're just told that she's like your daughter from another universe, and like it would.
I was 7 when we met. Now I'm a woman. It'd be like,
hola, ¿cómo está?
You're strange. Yeah, I don't know you.
She has one line that I think works, because he does his classic, I don't know whoever you're talking about, but you got the wrong guy.
The wrong
right?
guy. Yeah.
And she's like, you're always the wrong guy until you're not. And like, I feel that's like maybe a Logan canon event. Like him choosing, like even with Logan, he had to choose to do the right thing. He had to choose to join the X-Men. So this Logan has to do that.
He has to choose to help a runaway girl, Rogue. I mean, 100%, Mike. That is his core DNA. You are 100%
So choose to help Deadpool, even though he annoys you. Like, that's your choice. Yeah. Not the strongest, but I get it.
And it gives her some closure and stuff too. But again, we're talking about the Void and stuff. Why is she in the Void? That's never explained either. So
exactly, she should just be hanging out in Deadpool's universe. Right.
Yeah, she's still alive in the X-Men universe, right? I'm assuming. So.
Well, I guess not, because Logan's her anchor being.
Well, that universe is deteriorating, but not gone yet.
Deteriorating, but it still exists, right?
It doesn't. And so I know a million fans are going to be listening to this, not fans of ours, but fans of Deadpool, who say, why are you nitpicking this? Why does this matter? It's a fun comic book movie. I agree with you in that, that's a way you could look at this, but there is always a way. I'd argue the other two Deadpool movies do make sense. I am like tracking the internal logic of those films when I watch them.
And I think
one of them does have time travel.
Yeah.
It does.
Well, we're only nitpicking it to the same level that we nitpick any MCU movie, I feel
100%.
Like.
Yeah. But again, and it's a function to set up. We're still like just the promise of an adventure with Deadpool and Wolverine. Like it's convoluted because they're like, it's an afterthought because we need to get this happening. And now we have Wolverine in the suit and Deadpool together, and now they're in the trash heap of the multiverse, so
right. True. So they get zapped to the Void, looking very Mad Maxy, as they even say in the movie.
Which Fox now, right? Disney. So
sure, is it
right? WB.
Oh, you're right. I'm wrong. Right? So he did cross the streams there. How did they know about the Dementis and those motorcycles then?
Deadpool, he can bring up Ghostbusters. He can say whatever the fuck he wants.
He's fine.
I mean, they've said this is, when I saw the movie The Eternals, they mentioned like Superman in that movie. And I'm like,
that's right.
Superman is a character that exists in it's like they have movies that are DC movies in the Marvel universe. So,
they have the Snyderverse. They watch the Snyderverse movies all the time.
They're huge Snyderverse fans.
Right. But we get round 1, Logan versus Deadpool, because he's pissed off that you dragged him here. Now we're in the fucking Void, and I hate you, Deadpool. I'm going to kill you now. And
and we get the suit reveal, of course.
Yes.
Feral
yellow and blue.
The big plot point of this is that he brings up that he was in that bar, and he feels he let down the X-Men because he never wore the suit. So when Deadpool says, "Ooh, you're wearing something interesting under here,"
Scott always wanted me to wear this.
Scott, Storm, all of them. They all wear dumb shit. Like he literally calls it out, and says like, "Well, now I wear it all the time," or whatever. And we see this.
My only reminder of them. Yeah.
Mike, is this a comment? I mean, literally, the plot is he never wanted to wear a suit. Now he does. Is this just a big joke about the Fox universe never wanting to put their superheroes in comic accurate costumes and doing the black leather and all that?
I think so. What did you expect? Yellow spandex? Like Fox was very clearly like, fuck that. So I think it has to be just a dig.
Here it is, finally.
Saying fuck you, Fox, to the camera earlier, so for sure.
This is what fans always wanted, apparently.
Behind them is literally the 20th Century Studio logo. They never comment on it. It's smashed to pieces. Now, this first fight here, Jacob, Sean Levy, how's he doing as an action director, considering John Wick was the man who directed the last one?
Right. I don't know. It's fine. I mean, it's what the fans want to see. Deadpool versus Wolverine, I guess.
It's violent. There's a lot more CGI in these fights than I would have thought, and I don't like that.
But let me ask this about the suit.
I was to say content pilled. Like I liked it.
You liked him.
I like him crawling on the ground. I like some of the swords sticking out of him. I like how violent it was. But yeah, maybe they're CG. But maybe I'm just.
I like this better than the car fight.
I like the car fight a lot too, but maybe I'm just an idiot.
They're two guys that can regenerate fighting each other, so they can really just kick the shit out of each other. The suit, I don't know. A lot of people were super psyched to see Hugh in the suit. I thought it was fine. Again, we all saw pictures of it before the movie came out, so it's like not a surprise to me. It didn't do that much when it revealed it. I will say later, the big reveal is later. When he puts on the mask, right?
And I would argue it doesn't work for me until the sleeves are off and the mask is on. That's when I'm like, that is Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because again, hot take, like I think the black leather leather in X-Men is better than the comic accurate suits for movies.
Hottest take.
For movies, because why would he be wearing this like crazy yellow and blue suit? Like I just feel like having a uniform where they're all like in black leather. To me, I kind of like that better.
It's practical.
Maybe that's blasphemous to say.
When I think of Star Trek uniforms, like I kind of was okay with like when they had just the piping that was the color for like their character. Iceman had blue. Like I'm like that's at least something. But
I love that you call the Star Trek suits.
Yeah, right. It's like that. But I thought the brown suit was better than this one. I wanted the brown suit for the whole movie. Good, that's my favorite look.
I couldn't believe. That was incredible. I thought we'd get an original look too. Jacob, I like that Deadpool in his past movies comes to the moment in the first one where he's like, my suit needs to be red because I bleed so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Supposedly the reason in the comics has always been, and I think this is a huge retcon, is that Wolverine says, I wear yellow so that the fire is drawn to me. Well, it's not pissing my pants nonstop. No, because he can regenerate. He doesn't want anyone else to get hurt. People will shoot at him opposed to the people in more concealing colors, right? I don't know.
Whatever.
Maybe you're right. I don't know. I
just think it works better in a cartoon like the X-Men animation than it does in live action. Like some things like in live action, if you want to make it more realistic looking, like I don't know why you'd be wearing a bright yellow suit, but I guess that retcon or that explanation makes sense.
It's fine. I like my rugged wearing a biker jacket and an A shirt tucked into some jeans with boot. Like that's my good look. Yeah, that's fine. He's a Canadian.
Again, one of my favorite, maybe my favorite of the X-Men movies is First Class, and they do try to do more uniform-ish, comic book-ish uniforms with that one. So
I guess I like those too. Yeah, but I agree with Colin. Until the sleeves are gone and the cowl is up, then it started to really work.
Then I'm there.
Like, okay, I see the.
I mean, Deadpool says it. He goes, "Ooh."
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Deadpool gets a new suit too, which I think I prefer the subdued, muted red to the bright Marvel red of this one as well.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But he does get adamantium katanas, which is good that they mentioned, which explains how he can fight Wolverine and not have them break.
Right.
That's cool.
Right. Yeah. And I did hear adamantium is coming to the MCU. Everybody, we can all.
What does that mean?
Clap.
Yeah. What?
It's in this movie.
Coming to the MCU.
But
apparently, Captain America: Brave New World is going to have adamantium in it too. So
great.
It's a new
that's right.
They got adamantium.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. It hasn't been in the MCU. We had vibranium, but now adamantium is officially here.
Yeah,
it's a thing. They're going to discover it. I don't know.
Awesome.
Sure.
You know that rock? Well, in X-Men Origin Wolverine, they're going to like third world countries and shooting people to get to meteorite fragments that are adamantium.
That's right. And he makes the bullet that he fucking blows his brains out with from Logan. That's right.
Well, Laura does it. Yeah.
That's right.
She kills the clone.
X-24.
So let's talk about this crew that shows up, this Dementis Mad Max crew.
The Dementis crew. They needed to have They needed to have Thor in there as a Demented Thor.
The first person they bump into, and we've gotten a taste that Deadpool does enjoy the Marvel heavy hitters. He's tried to interview with Iron Man / you could imagine he would literally just call him Robert Downey Jr. He's very excited about the fact that he will cry over, or Thor will cry over him one day. And he in particular said, Captain America. Now there's a real hero, as he's sort of being introduced to the fact that he could cross over with the 616. Now the first person they bump into in the void is a Captain America looking man, played by Chris Evans, wearing a cloak.
Yes.
This was actually maybe my favorite. There's another one that I know that you guys are going to talk about, but
I mean,
actually
that's
really
like
this cameo. Because the reveal is funny, and I didn't know that it was going to happen. And this was a Twitter joke that someone had on Twitter years ago, or like a year ago, before Multiverse of Madness, where they said this would be so funny if they did this in Multiverse of Madness, and then they actually did it in this movie.
That's awesome.
Of course, Chris Evans appears. He's wearing a cloak. They're like, "Okay, do your thing," and he goes, "Flame on!" Right?
Yep. He's got the Jessica Alba era little, unitard, and this was very funny. I did not expect it.
I didn't expect it either. I didn't know about this
Fantastic Four movies. Obviously, have you guys seen those? Were you fans of those back in the day?
Only saw them one time. Never saw Silver Surfer. I think I just.
Ooh, it's bad, Mike. You did yourself a favor there.
I saw both of them.
Dodged a wave.
Love Michael Chiklis, of course.
Hell yeah, you love The Shield.
The Shield.
Michael Chiklis, great casting for.
Should have been in this movie.
Yeah, that would have been funny. But yeah, of course, before Chris Evans was ever Captain America, he was
Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm.
A different Marvel character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Maybe a lot of younger people don't even know about.
No, and a lot of people, I mean, I remember that initial casting, and it's weird to talk about John Krasinski again, but where people were like, oh, why bring Chris Evans back when he was in those bad Fantastic Four movies? They should make John Krasinski Captain America. He auditioned for it, and everybody was like, oh, yeah. But then obviously Chris Evans was like, this is actually kind of the part I was born to play. So like,
people were just trying to get John Krasinski in all these roles for some reason.
I'm sick of that.
And that's what's funny to contrast multiverse.
White guy.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want early Jack Reacher or whatever to be Captain America, but so here we have one fan casted, like, here's John Krasinski that just kind of missed, and then here's like a surprise Chris Evans Johnny Storm that really hit, and it's like, they did the same
this
thing,
one to me, I just love, because this is sort of the theme of this movie, which we'll talk about, which is these failed Fox. It's sort of a love letter to a whole era of Fox movies, including the X-Men movies. Where it's these failed, it's like failed versions of characters that are now in the void. Basically, that's kind of what the movie is saying, right?
And it's like it's literally the void too. It's like these are franchises that are dead. They are gone. They are not coming back ever again. So let's just blow them a kiss, and that's it.
Primarily underneath the 20th Century Fox studio umbrella, although obviously with the and we'll talk about them all, I guess, but Blade was just truly a Marvel Studios and a new line back in the day, so a Warner Brothers. It is interesting that they which ones they choose to tap into. Now these are called. Go ahead.
Well, just that it's mostly 20th Century Fox, but to me it's more about this era, right? The 2000s superhero era were very hit or miss. The pre-MCU era, where you had the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, you had the X-Men movies, you had Ben Affleck Daredevil, you had all these movies, and it was sort of a darker time for superheroes in film, where people are like, can this work? Because a lot of these movies are like bombing, they're really bad. And then the MCU, Iron Man came out and kind of changed the whole game, right? So it's kind of like, it's sort of a love letter to this earlier era pre-MCU, and I kind of do like that.
I like putting a spotlight on, like, they weren't perfect, but damn it, they were kind of cute, it's okay to like things about these.
It's just a part of your history you have to honor.
It
is sort of tapping into that nostalgia, and of course this is perfect for people that are exactly our age who are like, man, all these movies came out when we were teenagers and stuff. And so it is really tapping into that nostalgia, and it's kind of calculated, you could say, but it does work on me. I'm not immune to it, you know.
No,
so let's call them out real
extended
quick.
cameos. Yeah, we get rolled up on by bad guys, and go ahead, Colin. What do we got?
They roll up on some bad guys, and then we get some like knockoffs. I think really the only one, because we get a Psylocke who's not Olivia Munn, we get a Juggernaut who's not Vinnie Jones, we get a Pyro who is the Pyro from X2,
and I believe we get Tyler Mane as Sabretooth.
Oh, okay.
Sabretooth,
there we go.
Yes.
That's totally dope. But
now,
go ahead.
Well, just on the subject of Sabretooth, they couldn't even get Liev Schreiber. They had to get the worst Sabretooth.
They had to get the cheap one.
So,
There's a lot of comments on budgets because of casting and cameos in this film. It does make sense. But we get a little battle there, which you guys can definitely talk about if you want to. But I just want to set up that the hero party of this that comes, these big cameos that we're talking about, who are more than cameos.
This is after we even meet the villain and stuff.
Yes.
They meet the villains.
Oh, is that true?
They meet the villains.
They meet.
I'm jumping way ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, well, let's talk about Cassandra Nova then, real quick.
I guess, they get pulled to Cassandra Nova. Pyro's like, sorry, Johnny Storm, no fire powers here, and they get captured.
Yeah.
You know.
Giant Paul Rudd Ant-Man skeleton is what is her house.
So apparently they're saying Ant-Man franchise is completely dead now, forever. Okay. Bold assertion.
I like that,
this is
Mike.
just potentially in the future, because it's the Void, so they could have came in at any time. Who knows?
It could be an Old Man Logan joke in that there is a city in that distant future comic book universe called Pym Falls, which is literally people live in the corpse of a giant man.
That makes a ton of sense.
And of course, they got the joke of Paul Rudd finally aged.
Yes.
Oh, look. Paul Rudd finally aged.
It's
just that the whole time. It's just this soft quipping. Like sometimes you don't even see Deadpool. You just hear his, jabber, and you're like, "Yep."
He does not shut up in this whole movie.
He does not. So then we get Cassandra Nova, who comes out, who explains, and this is again one of those things where the Deadpool movies, where characters can literally just come out and say who they are, or as in the last one. Deadpool can just say, look, it's Juggernaut from Uncanny X-Men 122. He can literally say those things.
Yep.
Cassandra Nova, character I don't know if you guys are familiar with, comes down and explains that she is a variant, you could imagine, or someone who was pruned from her timeline as an infant because she is the fetal twin of Charles Xavier, the most powerful mutant ever. And she has been in the Void her entire life. She's grown up here. And in fact has a deal with the TVA that she's so powerful she won't escape because she likes it there and considers it her playground.
Yeah.
Yes. Now,
and she's excited to have a Wolverine. Like she wants to collect all these.
A Wolverine! We don't have many of those. Yes, she does like having. She's almost like an action figure collector, Mike. Yeah. That's a funny way to look at it. We've got a ton of Deadpools, but no Wolverines.
Right. Yes.
Again, you can't think about Loki too much because even though obviously they have the giant smoke monster from Loki, whatever, or the giant storm. So there is some things from Loki, but also like what happened to all those other Lokis and stuff, like Alligator Loki.
When
put him in here.
He was sent to the Void, they found out it was really the world at the end of time, and that's where Jonathan Majors lived in a house. And again, yes, we can imagine that maybe Loki's sitting on a throne here. So again. And that's happening around him.
Was there the whole time.
Yeah,
too.
He's just like this is cool. He's just like, do what you got to do.
Frog Thor somewhere, yeah.
Cassandra Nova, to me, something I was thinking about. So obviously Charles Xavier in the X-Men movies, when he's younger, played by James McAvoy, he does have hair at one point, and then he loses hair and becomes bald.
Oh wow.
Cassandra Nova, I don't know anything about her in the comics, but she's also bald, which doesn't make any sense to me. She's just bald because her brother was bald, but used to have hair. Like,
again, that's very funny.
Have their hair fall out.
I can't remember if truly accurately in the comics if Charles Xavier at any age is ever depicted of having hair. So I know that she is as a baby and always shown being bald, but that is a funny take, Jake.
Even Picard has hair at one point in his lifetime.
Right.
Well,
he grows. He's a man. He's a person, of course. He just doesn't have alopecia.
But that's funny. She looks like James McAvoy, kind of.
He does. Now, this is a British actress named Emma Corrin, I believe.
Yes.
They go by they, actually. But are we fans of them? I'm not positive I've ever seen Emma Corrin.
I know them from this show called The Crown, which is all about the
Oh,
Queen,
right.
Queen Elizabeth and stuff. They played Princess Diana in
No
The
fucking
Crown.
way.
So,
Really?
yeah,
I remember that season.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well, they were good in that.
Yeah.
I
But
thought
as a villain
Elizabeth
for-
Debicki was Princess Di.
She played
There's been
in a different
several.
era because basically that
Oh,
show,
okay.
it's confusing, but there's 6 seasons of that show. Every 2 seasons there's a time jump. So there's young queen like in the 50s for the first 2 seasons, and there's middle-aged queen in like the 70s and 80s, and then there's older queen in the 90s and 2000s.
Oh.
So there's 2 different, so a lot of the characters have 2 or 3 different actors that play them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So she played the younger, they played the younger Princess Diana, and then Elizabeth Debicki played the little bit older Princess Diana in the 90s. So
And then eventually Olivia Colman stepped in, right?
well, Olivia Colman played the Queen in the middle seasons. Yeah,
The Queen, not Diana. Correct. All right.
Queen Elizabeth.
Wow, that's cool.
Well, they're
Yeah.
good in that series, but I don't think they're great villain for this, just because it's like you come out of nowhere, I have no idea who you are, and we really only spend like 5 minutes with her throughout the whole movie, it feels like.
And her lines are
Yeah.
just exposition dumps.
Yes.
And
Their
again,
lines
this is a
are.
villain.
The characters are, yeah.
Yes,
But if
yes,
you've
yes.
never seen the X-Men movies, you have no context for who this villain is, why she's evil, like what her relationship to like these other
What her
characters
power
are.
set is.
Yeah. So again, it's just a reference to Charles Xavier. And if you don't know who that is, or you don't know his connection to Wolverine, then it kind of means nothing.
Yeah.
So why even do or have her say the comic accurate I was a twin, who he kicked me out of the womb or whatever the hell she fucking says.
Mhm.
Why not just go the Sylvie route and just go, I'm a female variant of Charles Xavier?
Charlie
Right.
XCX Xavier. It's me. And I'm a
It's
brat,
Brat
damn it.
Summer in the fucking void, Mike? I had no
Yo.
idea.
Yes.
She wears green. It's Brat. She is
Wow, we got Brat going on here.
Brat.
Brat Summer.
Man.
It's a Brat Void.
That's right.
Yeah,
Could be
and then
brought
of
worse.
course, like you said, we have Pyro, played by the actor that played Pyro.
I just know he's only been Pyro and the guy from The Hills Have Eyes remake.
Right.
Oh,
right.
He grows a beard and looks
Okay.
very different and is good in
Sure.
that movie.
Sure.
that's cool.
Yeah, fun fact.
We had like, what's that devil guy, like Azazel or something? What's his
Azazel,
name?
yeah.
Azazel, yeah.
From
Can I
First
just say
Class.
real quick? I've never watched it, but what I know he has a huge fan base from Pyro. He is the star of the Sci-Fi Channel original movie 12 Monkeys, based on the movie 12 Monkeys. And I'm
Oh.
kind of shocked, Jacob, that you've never watched that, considering it's a bad sci-fi show.
Yeah, you think I
Interesting.
would, right? Yeah, I have to
It
watch
sounds
that.
right up your alley.
I also wanted to mention, so we said Tyler Mane Sabretooth. We also
Yes.
had Toad, played by Ray Park, in a very small role as well.
That
Toad
is
from the
that is
first
Ray
X-Men
Park?
movie. Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah. So
Wow.
very small cameo there, but kind of cool.
I was upset
Yeah.
that Domino wasn't in this, but I was looking up who played Domino and I forgot that it was Zazie Beetz. But then I
Zazie
saw
Beetz.
someone getting credited as Domino in this movie, but I didn't see them anywhere. I believe it was an Asian actress, but there was supposedly a variant, if IMDb is to be believed, but maybe they were in the background or something, but there was supposed to be one, and I was excited.
There's
like,
a
I like
lady
Domino.
Deathstrike, there's a Psylocke, all characters we've seen in like X2 and I believe X-Men Apocalypse is where Olivia Munn appears. But again,
Yes.
price-wise, we're not getting those versions. We're
It's
getting
one of
what
the
you can
four
assume are like C-list variants.
Timu. We got
We're from the
Juggernaut
TV
Timu.
universe. It's
Right.
like, okay,
Right.
great.
Yep.
Yeah, they should have had Apocalypse come in and say, "Oh, just kidding, I'm Moon Knight."
Oh my gosh, dude, that would be
Moon
good.
Knight.
Well, a really big rumor, because they are such business partners and friends, was that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would make fun of Black Adam by appearing as a more comic accurate Apocalypse, like a big Egyptian boy.
I'm
No, so
really
we just got
upset.
Cavalrine.
No, we needed Moon Knight and then Loki Crocodile, and he could have said Laeta and left. And it would have
Oh,
been perfectly
Yeah.
I
meta.
miss Loki Crocodile. I love that little bastard.
and Thor Frog, get him in here.
Yeah.
But they kind of get a big escape. She offers him like, stay and work for me, be my subjects, and I'll let you hang out. And they're like, fuck this, and they blast off on a rocket ship
Yeah.
after a little battle.
It's
And we'll
us
come
or
back
alley
for a
off.
big battle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah,
crash
another
land
thing-
and are saved.
By the way, those other Thors, one of those Thors, of course, was Richard E. Grant, old British.
other
dude.
Lokis.
Yeah,
Loki's, yes,
I
sorry.
get that
Who's
one.
Other
played,
Thors.
who was in Logan. So there you
That's
go. He's
it.
the scientist in Logan.
That's right. He's the bad guy in Logan. While watching it, I was
Yeah.
like, wait, he was already in a Marvel movie?
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wild.
fun facts.
That
There.
is funny.
But
They were clearly
can
trying
we
to
talk
distance
about-
themselves from Loki. It's, like
Oh, yeah.
some of
Yeah.
those characters would be fun cameos, but like we're just sticking to Fox love letter basically.
Well, why not have Owen Wilson come in at the end and be like, "Hey, what are you
hey,
doing here,
Paradox.
Paradox? Wait, wow, what's going on?
Mobius.
He goes to buy a
Oh,
car. Hey,
wow.
could you pull a jet ski in this thing?
Hey, wow, jet ski, wow."
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever. But go ahead,
I just like to
Jacob.
think the TVA just has all these like regional branches with like different guys named Paradox and Mobius
Yeah,
that run these different branches.
jokes that are all like, oh, fuck, I got assigned the fucking 20th Century Fox universe. I gotta watch over fucking Elektra and Ben Affleck. This sucks.
Fracture's really doubling my
Yeah.
hours right now. Dang it, man.
But so they escape from Cassandra Nova. They get this minivan at some point, right? They have a scene in a diner.
Oh, they
he
meet
meets
Nice
his
Pool.
first. He meets his first Deadpool variant, which
That's
is at
right,
first
yes.
a dog who runs at them, whose name is
Dogpool, the
Mary
best-
Puppins, aka Dogpool.
Mhm.
Who
Dogpool.
our Deadpool is immediately taken with. He loves this little girl. He wants to take him home with
The
her.
best character.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Dogpool is owned by Nice Pool, who is a unscarred, no regeneration having, which is a great joke later to pay
Yes.
off.
Oh, right.
Version of
very
Deadpool.
handsome Ryan Reynolds. Now I was telling Colin this. I don't know if this was played by Ryan Reynolds' brother, but in the credits, Nice Pool is credited as Gordon Reynolds.
And
What?
Wikipedia is here to destroy you, Jacob, and say that as a joke, he is listed in the credits as Gordon
Okay,
Reynolds.
well, I don't understand.
So in the
joke,
car goes,
but-
"Can you believe that was his brother?" I said, "What do you fucking mean? The guy
That's
looks
funny.
exactly like him, and Ryan Reynolds does not have a twin. What
if
are
he
you
had a twin
talking
brother?
about?"
Maybe he has clones,
Named
though. I
Gordon.
wouldn't put it past him.
I thought maybe
Ugh.
they put Ryan Reynolds' face, like it was his body, but they put
Sure.
his face over it or something. I was like,
Sure.
why is he credited as Gordon Reynolds?
The one
I think
joke
truly.
credit. Gotcha.
I think Chris Evans' brother, who's now kind of an actor, because I think he
Yes,
pops
he was
up
one
in
of
stuff.
the Kens. Yeah.
Right. Yes, that's so
One of
weird.
the
But I
Kens
think
and
he
Barbie.
used to do stunt stuff for Chris Evans, so that wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, Jacob. I see
Sure.
what you're saying
A
there.
lot of actors have twins that you don't even know about. Like Vin Diesel has
A lot
like
of
a
times they'll
twin
just
that
do
looks exactly
stand-in
like
work.
him.
Like they'll just.
I would
Yeah.
love to talk to Vin Diesel's twin just to be like, what is going on with your brother? What
Yeah.
is-
Twin Diesel.
What do you
Twin
think,
Diesel.
Twin Diesel?
Yeah.
What do you think he's like? What?
We need to get
I
out
love
this
it.
documentary
So,
finance stat.
you never
Netflix hit us
know.
up for Twin Diesel.
Twin Diesel.
But Dogpool. Now, do you guys know the story about this dog?
Not this
that
dog in
played-
particular.
This dog actor. Yeah. Mary Poppins or whatever.
Is that a Shar-Pei? I don't know what a Shar-Pei is, I guess.
I don't think
what,
it's a
what is this
Shar-Pei.
kind of
I
dog?
thought it was a marker.
Just
It's
a
like
little-
pug or
little
something, but,
gremlin?
like, its
Yeah.
tongue is sticking out. This dog is from England and was voted the ugliest dog in England. It became sort of a
Why
viral
would you do
sensation.
that?
They have ugliest dog contests. It's like a thing.
Yeah. So it won this
Oh.
ugliest dog contest and then became kind of a viral sensation. So they're like, of course we gotta get this dog to play dog pool.
Oh.
Well, I mean, they're ugly, but we love them. Like it's in good spirits, I believe.
So do you
Yeah.
think Dogpool is from a universe where everyone's dogs, or do you think Dogpool is from the Loki Gator universe where everyone's an animal?
Oh, it's
That's-
hopefully Loki Gator.
That would be great. Yeah, we need that spin-off show of just animal superheroes.
Oh
I
my
wouldn't
gosh.
mind it.
Yeah.
Spider-Ham, I mean, that's what that comic book
Spider-Ham.
originated from. So
Sure. I just thought, well, it was funny that Spider-Ham was a spider that was bit by a pig, I believe. is
that's
his
right. A
origin
radioactive pig is
That's
his
funny.
story, Jacob. You are
Yeah.
100% right about
It's the
that.
cartoon Splinter. Like then he turned into a pig as opposed to a spider with big powers. Right.
He's just
Yeah.
a dude who gets covered in radiation.
Becomes
Yeah,
a
like,
rat now. Yeah.
the worst.
Very strange. But it's a nice pool. Gives them a minivan, a Honda Odyssey. It's really reliable. You know.
That's,
Remember,
that's a big
he's
plot
shit
point.
talking the Honda Odyssey in the beginning.
And
He's
I guess
really talking
yeah.
to Kias.
But the tie-in here is that because in his pathetic life he has become a car salesman. Is that
Yes.
why he's dragging the Odyssey so much?
He just knows
Yeah, he's a car
Carfax because he.
salesman in the beginning, and
Yep.
he's trying to sell a Kia, and he's like, not like that piece of shit Honda Odyssey. Which I was wondering in terms of like brand partnerships with
Yeah.
this movie. Did Kia pay for this? And they're like, can you just like shit talk Honda a bunch? That would be really cool.
He ends
As
up
somebody
putting it
who's-
over later, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Mike. That's what I was going to say. As someone who works in product placement, I would guarantee you that the agreement, because at the end he says, wow, actually it was so roomy or whatever after their fight, that is Honda Odyssey being
So
like,
Honda's
yeah,
like,
make fun of
you
us.
can make
We
fun
love
of
it.
us.
But say
Yeah.
something nice at the end.
Well, it's the Lamborghini and Doctor Strange. They're like, oh yeah, he could be in a near death crash, but he survives, right? It just shows how safe our cars are, and they're like, go for
Right.
it. It's like, okay,
Sure, I
thanks,
guess.
guys. And he was distracted. It wasn't the car's fault that
Right,
it's very
exactly.
specific. Yeah. So they go to the diner and have another heart to heart. There's a little bit of this is where we're kind of getting pacing issues, like Jacob was alluding to earlier, I think.
It's just, why are people acting like how they're acting? Is Deadpool giving this speech about, well, you got to understand, in my world, Logan means something. Wolverine's like the most important character. Is he just doing this to butter his ass up to bring him over because he knows they're not really getting along? Or like, why is he persisting at this still?
I guess he needs help. He can't defeat Bald Lady, I guess. Like, and
what does he give a shit about her? He just needs to leave this place.
Right. And he is also lying to Logan about like, oh, we'll get the TVA to fix your world too. It'll be sick.
Right.
So that becomes the Honda fight.
He just thinks Logan can help him, so he's like trying to become friends with him.
And there's just no filter, like brain to voice.
Oh, we get, you're totally right. We get, Mike, you're right on this, because we get a really great line of, after the deceiving of, you're telling me we're not going to be able to fix my bad Wolverine mistake timeline. Ryan Reynolds gets it was an educated wish, which does come up later, which I thought was a funny line. Very, very clever concept.
That might be the takeaway of the summer. Educated wishes.
Yes, educated. The look on Hugh Jackman's face, he's so angry. And when he repeats it at the end, I truly was very heart-touched.
I have an educated wish that Kamala Harris is going to win the presidency.
Fingers crossed, yes. Otherwise, we'll go to the TVA and we'll get it all sorted out.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh no, we're in the bad universe.
Can you prune us, please, Paradise?
This is the bad
Our anchor being Donald Trump died because he was just shot in the ear.
No.
Well, we're in the universe where the assassination failed, right? But there's another universe where it was successful, if you want to think about it that way.
And then Biden died of COVID.
And then JD Vance travels through different universes to find another Trump as quick as possible. We need another one.
Yeah,
right.
On his time-traveling couch.
Being.
That's how you turn it on. He knows how.
You know how. It's got to bump it.
What a good bit.
So they end up in this minivan, and they're driving along. They have another fight while they're in the minivan.
I like the minivan fight. I thought it was an interesting constraint, as opposed to a big CG blowout. Like, just tussle in a van. It's
the one that I'm realizing the CGI fight I'm mad at is the one later where they literally burst through the bus and it's like super CG. Yes, that's the I'm wrong, Mike. These two fights are good. You're right.
So far, I like round 1 and 2. Yeah. I've never seen that done either. So points for that.
No, that's cool. A super confined space like that was very clever. Yeah.
And they get exhausted by it, and then somebody drives them to where.
And truly, the car is like stripped by the time they're done fighting. It is like
covered in blood.
Shit out of each other. The car is a mess. They both pass out basically, and someone appears and drives the car back to their hideout, and they wake up. And this is where we get all our big reveals and cameos, right?
Like, this is fan service city, but this is also some of the best stuff in the movie. Like, it works
100%.
Yeah. So whoever wants to run down this roster here.
Well, so I'll just ask you guys: did you know that they are called the Others, which Wade dubs them? I did not catch that line, but that's
got to be a Lost reference.
Lists their team as. Interesting. The girl helping them is, of course, Laura. It is Daphne Keane, our beloved X-23, a little grown up since we've seen her in Logan.
Because we get 3 people walk in, and then they're like, "We have a 4th member," and then she walks.
That's right. That's right. But isn't she considered the one who drives them? Or I guess is it?
But she doesn't walk into the room.
You don't see her face. Right?
Okay,
so you just see her shoes or something.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's a big reveal. The thing is, they kind of fucked up by putting her in the trailer, in the final trailer for this.
They blew that. Yeah.
And it's like, why would you, like, that would have been such a bigger moment if I didn't know she was going to be in it. And they were even asking Daphne Keane in interviews and stuff, like, are you going to be in Deadpool and Wolverine stuff? She's like, no, but I'll watch it as a fan. She had the Andrew Garfield role of No Way Home. Like, I'm going to enjoy watching it. And then the big reveal. But I think they only put her in the trailer to get more people to come see it, which is kind of
It seemed like the last big desperate attempt for a pop. Yeah, we won't blow everything. Here's one we can imagine you assume is in here, so let's just ruin it anyways.
But it would have been a better emotional moment if I didn't know that she was in it already. So
I agree with you, but man, boy, did I have an emotional moment anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we just saw her, but being underneath a pound of makeup, it just doesn't hit you about how much she's grown and just turned into, another person. Right. I don't watch that His Dark Materials show, so I just have not been catching him on
His Dark Materials.
Nope. I haven't seen it.
Great. Fantastic, I guess.
James
but to see her all grown up,
just
blown away. That's right. Charles Xavier's her dad.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, your favorite actor.
Best friend, yeah.
Polar bears, the Golden Compass is the first part of it. If you remember, they made a movie called The Golden Compass. And then that was the first part of the His Dark Materials trilogy, and then that was kind of a failure. So then they eventually made it into a TV show, and
which was also a failure. Maybe I don't know anyone who's ever seen that show. Yeah, it's the whole books, I guess. So,
fair.
But yeah, that's kind of her main. Like, she hasn't been in that much. So she's been Laura X-23. She's been in His Dark Materials, and she's been Jackie Lon, the greatest Jedi that's ever lived.
Which is choosing her parts. I like that. She's been a part of a bunch of huge universes. I mean, she's a tremendous actress.
She's like 19 years old. So
she's got a long career ahead of her.
Obviously good at like action choreography and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And that was a big standout in the Acolyte, right?
Is actually Spanish. I wonder if she has a dance background. I mean, she's so good at the fight stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting in this movie she doesn't have like a Spanish accent.
No,
she has
she's totally
American accent. So
which may be different lore, but then why does she know the story of Logan? I don't get it. But it was fun to see her.
And her anchor being. Just say the words anchor being. It all makes sense.
She still has the glasses too. So
she is our fourth member. The others are, it seems like the leader is Jennifer Garner's Elektra, who we know from Daredevil / Elektra.
One of my favorite lines in the movie was when they're like, "Is Daredevil here?" Like, "Oh no, he died, but it's okay." She's like, "It's fine."
She says it's okay. Yes. She doesn't care that her real husband she divorced is dead. It's great.
But,
that was incredible.
Here's the thing, she's still, I believe, friends with Ben Affleck. He obviously is now married to J-Lo again, or not again, but they dated.
Seems to be loving
it. It seems like they're about to divorce too. But he has these great relationships with these women. Jacob, I think it is a case of everyone in his life is like, I have to keep you alive.
Yeah, he's had some problems.
Seems like such a mess that I think every person thinks they are his anchor being, and that they're just maintain, Ben.
I kind of thought the J-Lo stuff wasn't going to last. Like, it's a great story. Oh, they were together in the 2000s, and then they got back together after 20 years and stuff. But I knew it wasn't going to last. And J-Lo is kind of a weird person too, so I won't.
In what way?
A ham and cheese and an orange drink. If you know, you know.
Jenny from the block, baby.
She's just Jenny from the block.
I used to live here. Who are you? I'm Jennifer Lopez.
You have women immediately saying, "Who are you?" I've seen that video. I'm like, it's fantastic. They're like, "No, you're not. You've never lived here."
So good.
But he's just in love with women named Jennifer. I think that's the key.
He loves Jennifer's body. It's his favorite movie.
That's the key.
Yeah,
that's the key for Ben.
It's his anchor being.
Yeah.
But so we got Jennifer.
They call them.
Yeah.
Jennifer Garner, Elektra.
Haven't seen that since it came out.
The one now, this is the one that people in my theater lost their shit, clapped and everything. Blade, right? Wesley Snipes, Blade, walking in, super badass, little music sting. Like I did kind of. I was like, hell yeah,
white hair and the soul
patch. Yeah.
Did not expect that at all. And then this is kind of the one me and Colin have been alluding to is the much rumored for several years, the Channing Tatum's Gambit. And
the prince who was promised. We never got him. He says the line, "I feel like I was born in the void." I mean, such a perfect, sum up of the thing that never came to fruition. The famous 2012 photograph at Comic-Con of the Fox X-Men universe with him in a Gambit shirt going like, "And I'm here too, guys."
Yeah, I looked at that picture. It was on Twitter and stuff.
Crazy.
All the X-Men actors, Hugh Jackman, everyone, and then Channing
and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, probably for X-Men Origins and stuff. So he was officially cast as Gambit, and then they just never made that
movie. His Gambit Origins movie, yeah.
But do you also remember that dude from Friday Night Lights
Taylor
played
Hitch?
Gambit.
I didn't want to
Taylor
mention
Hitch. Thank you, Mike.
Forever.
You're
Taylor
so
Hitch.
right.
it. It was very
I don't know.
bad.
So
Tim Riggins.
let's
Friday
talk
Night
look
Lights.
here. I mean, Mike,
Mhm.
this is a comic accurate Gambit. Are you happy? Are you liking this?
I feel it's a little hammy, comic accurate. Like it's cool, you know. And we just had peak Gambit in X-Men '97, obviously. So I'm like
Yes.
just stoked
Peak.
for it. I like his like
Well,
cowl. I think it's fine.
Oh, I mean, the hair is
Yeah.
intentionally stylized. The voice is intentionally
The
stylized.
jacket.
Who's
Joke
your
of him
voice coach? The Minions?
having such a heavy like Creole accent that I can't understand a thing he's saying is very funny.
He's
I
like
want to
Boomhauer.
master it. It's like,
Yeah.
yo, don't better get talking before I start dealing. It's like, what? What do you say?
Being bad
I think
out
it
there with
teases
all the garbage in the crawdads.
He's
It's
like, that on him and not gonna come off with it, come with it. It's like, what?
it's like you just immediately get the vibe of like they all just put up with this guy.
Dude, it's the best though.
It's very
Yeah, I want to learn that accent so bad. It's so funny.
Magic
I want
Mike.
that movie. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And some of his action stuff is really sick too. Like he charges the card and breaks Logan's bottles. Like, why are you drinking my liquor? You know,
Yeah.
you don't ask a man before he drinks.
Oh, I
his
mean, his
liquor.
powers are violent. When he throws his cards, they go through people in this. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, yes.
He says
Gambit in a
boom.
rated R movie rules.
Yeah.
well, he
it was
is the
sick.
one cameo in this that I'm like, if he had his own movie, I wouldn't be unhappy at that. Like I would
Get
go
him out
see
of the
that,
void.
You know?
Yeah.
Just, yeah. I mean, would they? What they're going to end up doing with the mutants, it's such a curiosity. I know we're going to talk about all that at the end going forward, but I certainly wouldn't mind if that casting carried over. If some of them can. Obviously, another big joke, we get this entire run till you're 90.
Yeah.
Oh,
is
yeah.
that this film really seems to
Coming
imply
back, you.
there are no other Wolverines. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine.
Which I'll
Right.
talk. Those implications are terrifying. Maybe we'll talk about that at the end too. But if so, this is our team, right? We have Blade, Elektra, Gambit, X-23, Wolverine, and Deadpool. Well, Wolverine's not sure till he talks with Laura, but that's going to be our squad to go up against
Right.
Bald Lady.
And they're basically there just to have one fight scene where they kind
Yeah.
of distract the villains while Deadpool and Wolverine do their
Someone
thing.
Yeah.
someone I would have liked to see, I don't know if you guys have anybody you would have liked to see add to this crew. I saw someone online say when Blade pulls out the rocket launcher, it is specifically a reference to the Ray Winstone Punisher, who of course passed away previously, our beloved Darth, whatever that guy's fucking name
Ray
is.
Stevenson.
Or I'm sorry, did I say
Yes.
Ray Winstone? Yes, Ray Stevenson. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yes.
So that's. I mean, I would have liked to see a Thomas Jane Punisher in this crew. I think that would have been cool. Is there anybody else you guys would have liked to see as the
Yes.
others?
I would like to
Yeah, the one you're
see
thinking.
Michael
go ahead.
Clark Duncan's Kingpin, but
R.I.P.
he's
to him
passed
too.
away, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that would have been
Also
sick,
dead, Mike. Very sad. Yeah.
but iconic.
The Punisher you're thinking of is Punisher Warzone, Colin.
Right.
With, Ray Stevenson.
Kevin Nash was the Russian in one of those, and they just had like a
Yes,
knockoff
in the
Russian
Thomas
in this.
Jane one.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Yeah, you're right.
What about if we're talking like Daredevil and Elektra and stuff? Colin Farrell, Bullseye.
That would have been
Oh,
insane.
that would have been sick.
That would have been
That would have
fucking.
been
And
he should
Gambit
have
hits him
been
in the bullseye.
killed. Yes, he should have been fucking killed by Gambit in one of these scenes. Would have been
Yeah.
very funny.
That would have been great. Oh man, that's a good
Um,
pull. But they're getting their Avengers New York fight basically. They're all getting their moment. We don't
Yeah.
quite get the 360 shot, but it's very much just here they are, everybody, and it's
With
fun
the
for what it
Elektra
is.
one, I don't know how you guys felt about this. I didn't care. I didn't give two shits about Elektra.
I
No
don't give
offense.
a
I'm sorry,
shit
Jennifer
about
Garner.
Jennifer Garner. I don't
No.
fucking give one shit about. She's always seemed weird to me.
Yeah.
That's why it worked though, because it felt like the most Deadpool. Like that's who would be in this movie is Elektra.
Right.
Like I have not thought about that movie since I've seen
No.
it. Not one time in
Yeah.
my life, you know. And here it is.
Here's the
Like,
thing though, with this grouping, like the theme is like, yeah, failed projects and things, forgotten superheroes, right? They end up in the void.
mhm.
But that doesn't totally work with the group that we have because we of course have Elektra. We don't care about her. Fine, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Channing Tatum, that's a project that never even got made. I guess that makes sense. But
Yep.
Blade, Wesley Snipes' Blade, people love him. He got 3 movies. So how does he fit into the theme of like
yeah,
failed...
is the joke that it's like they're all bombed and that like the Blade Trinity was so reviled.
The first,
the Wesley Snipes universe is over, I guess, right?
Because the first one made a ton of money, and it was the first Marvel movie, let alone the first R-rated Marvel movie, which obviously this is in the shadow of.
The first two, like, people still love those, and then the
They're
third one is sort
Guillermo
of
del Toro. It's like an auteur made those movies,
Yeah. The third one is sort of the Spider-Man 3 of the franchise, but and that one does have Ryan Reynolds in it, so I think they did make some kind of reference where he's like, "Man, you're really annoying" or something.
You look like somebody who used to work for me.
What is the retarded joke, Mike? I couldn't remember it.
Oh, what was that?
What are you doing here? Regardless, retarded? Did you just say retarded?
Yeah.
What? No, I didn't call you retarded.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Something like that. I do remember that.
That might have been in the Blade Trinity or something.
Blade, I was like, why did I just have to hear Wesley Snipes say retarded? A word that I try not to hear as much anymore. Yeah.
Still trying to ice skate uphill.
Says his iconic line.
Oh man.
You know?
And that was a good surprise. He didn't use his katana though, because only Deadpool can have the katana. He had these weird Kakiri things. So that's kind of a bummer. I wanted Deadpool to pick up his sword and have it cut his hand off with the little blades that shoot out.
Yeah.
It's me, the only Blade that exists.
And will ever exist.
I will be the only Blade ever. What a joke.
Which could dig at another movie in
which maybe he will
hell.
Because,
yeah. They still announced it.
That's our crew, and this is sort of like you said, the Multiverse of Madness crew. But I feel like the Multiverse of Madness cameos, they were just there to be this one joke where they all show up and then die immediately.
I don't know what those were, because again, it would be like, those were more of a like, what if it wasn't Captain America who got the serum?
Captain England.
Captain England. What if it wasn't Miss Marvel who did that? It was this one. What if it wasn't Tony who was smart? It was Fantastic Guy. This again, it's like, no. This is like, I'm showing you the garbage you love is what they're assuming, I guess. But again, it really just is the South Park member berries of member Elektra. And I go, I do. You're right. Yeah. I remember
That's what it is. And I think it is somewhat shameless, but obviously from the box office, we know that this is what MCU fans want to see. They want
it's what level of comfortable you at. Like literally it's like, I want to see Toby. I want to see Andrew, in the Spider-Man movies. And this is like, I don't care about Elektra, but you're right, Jacob. Wesley Snipes walk out, I go, oh, I know that guy. That's nice. And I think they really are just finding that, like, well, if we hit every target, we hit a target, right?
I guess this is my problem with this movie is that I didn't hate it. Like, there's some things I like about it, but like, how many times can we do this where we have...
It's like, running out.
Yeah, it's going to be diminishing returns where they're pulling Z-listers out and being like, remember this person? And it's like, but that's what they're getting from these movies being successful. That's the lessons they're learning. They're like, unfortunately, people want these random cameos in our movies, and that's what they're coming for. So I guess we're going to have to give them what they want.
Lou Ferrigno, the Hulk. And you're like, everybody who watched that is dead.
Yeah. We got Edward Norton back, and he's the Hulk now.
Great.
He's a Hulk variant.
We're back. Talking Deadpool. He's breaking our fucking shit here.
We're still unplugged my web camera, and then he farted and made a sexual reference. It's very strange.
He asked if I was hard.
Have you seen Waiting? The 2006 movie Waiting?
Oh, yeah.
I will. We passed it, but maybe my favorite joke of the entire thing was when he meets Nicepool, who says, I can break the fourth wall too. And he just turns and says, The Proposal. He just says one title of a Ryan Reynolds movie. And then Deadpool says, that's not how I do it, and gets mad.
Yeah. And I like, this little bit of superiority complex. Like he's kind of feels threatened by Nicepool's.
I hate this guy.
He's so nice. Yeah, it's like
I would be pointing out to Wolverine. I'd be like, "That's what I used to look like. I'm a good-looking guy. I would take pride in Nicepool."
Yeah, fair. And there was a whole arc in Deadpool 1 about how he's like, "I can't face Vanessa. I'm hideous," and he was feeling like self-esteem issues, like for real. Like there was character development. It feels different now, but so we do big battle, but like this is where the pacing's weird too, because we have this whole middle section that's Cameo City, and then it's like we have another third act climax. Once they escape, everyone helps them.
Well, so here's the thing. They win, Mike. They've cooked up this plan where they say, let's put Juggernaut's helmet on Cassandra to block her psychic abilities.
Yes.
Not something you'd know unless you were a huge comic book fan. It's a very out of nowhere plan that they have.
Right.
Laura cuts off this knockoff Juggernaut's feet. They get his helmet off. They do successfully put it on her. She is so impressed with this that she's like, well, I'll spare you or whatever. And they have this big moment where Wolverine and Deadpool are like, should we take the helmet off? Should we do this? Should we do that? Right? Because they are going to kill her. Eventually they do. And she does send them to Paradox to stop him. And then he says, oh, what are you guys doing here? I erased you, and I'm about to erase your timeline using a time ripper. Because he says that out loud, Cassandra then knows that he's using a time ripper, which she then decides she wants.
Yes. Apparently, and she gets shot by Pyro.
All introduced in the third act
on
here.
her.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, the plot of this movie is kind of a mess, and it really falls apart here in the third act because they have
just talking or thinking about it. It's just it's spaghetti.
Even the events, I'm just like, what even is this movie? But do you like when she's like reaching, like she's like feeling people's brains?
The coolest visual I've ever
dragging
seen. What an incredible thing.
Yeah, that was neat.
Eyes through the nose, so scary. Eyes through Paradox's or fingers through Paradox's eyes when she's doing it. The scariest. Do not do that to me. Do not ever. Yeah. That is the worst.
Yeah, that was
fingers
pretty
out
neat.
of my brain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're shown. I'm sorry. When she does this, I'm sorry, I'm being so pedantic about all the plot, but when she does this, we see inside Deadpool's mind. I know we made fun of the weird one in Logan's mind with the graves that don't really make sense, but in Deadpool, he's shown a version of Vanessa saying that he is a loser and that she wishes they weren't together. And Cassandra's like, I'm showing you what they thought. You know, it's not what they actually said. And again, this is super demoralizing, Deadpool.
Yeah. She never said that. Like, he's actually being earnest in his emotions in that moment, you know.
It's where I would have liked, as a screenwriting thing, to tie together that they should have had the catharsis to be like, no, we don't feel that way, Wade. We love you. His friend group should have come back at the end. Whatever.
Yes, man, but they picked a direction and like they went all the way with it. But yeah, I miss the Deadpool family, but neither here nor there. But they have to now fight a million. She brings backup. She says, "Here's a million Deadpools. They're gonna fight you guys." While I get
we've gotten earlier the indication that while Wolverines are rare, Deadpools are not. They are very easily pruned, but they are impossible. But they are impossible to control and have formed their own band of outlaws called the Deadpool Corps, which is a comics thing as well.
That's right.
And so when she gets rid of these two, she unleashes the Corps on them. And we see this epic coming out of all these Deadpools before, there we go, including Pirate Pool, including Cowboy Pool, Matthew McConaughey, Baby Pool, Kid Pool, Zen Pool, one of my favorites from a comic I collect called Axis, which is when Deadpool becomes like a nice guy. Head Pool, played by Nathan Fillion, we've learned.
He's just a floating.
There's like, Blake Lively is doing the voice.
I'm sure it's so for Lady Pool, it is Blake Lively's voice, but it's not. Here's the thing: they kind of blew this. She never takes the mask off, and also it's not Blake Lively playing the body.
No, she's very tall.
It's just her voice. So it's.
I would have liked to see a scarred up version of his wife. I don't understand why you wouldn't do that. Yeah.
No, and I believe I don't think Matthew McConaughey was there on the day.
No, that's just
none of them.
And
just email me an MP3.
Yeah, the other cool thing. So Lady Pool is Blake Lively. Kid Pool and Baby Pool are also voiced by their real kids.
That's cool.
Oh, what do they say? I can't remember. That's
Pool or whatever. But
Baby Pool,
like a bunch of swears or something. Like she's the craziest one or something.
So, Kid Pool, and then their younger kid is Baby Pool. So
that's cute. They have 3 daughters, I believe. That's got to be fun.
Yeah, it's just as cool as like Zack Snyder putting his children in his movies. You know?
Right.
Sure.
Cool. The thing about they met on that Green Lantern movie where they were both.
Jacob, don't remind me that, please.
Where she plays.
What a fact! I forgot that. Yeah.
Carol.
I'm Carol Ferris of Carol Airline, and you have to do this. I'm snarky and blah blah blah.
So you shouldn't be shitting on that movie, Ryan Reynolds, because that's where you met your wife. Like at least something good came out.
I don't know.
Right.
That's why he regrets it. What a life!
Saying he used to date Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson.
Married for 1 year, then broke up immediately. They've never spoke about it again. Very strange.
Yeah, he should have been asking about Black Widow, like if she's around when he was interviewing. Like, is Black Widow here? You know,
is she around? I'm technically not allowed to be around her since the divorce. Like, what? What does that mean?
That is funny.
So this is the moment where Wolverine says, he rips off his sleeves, he pulls down his cowl, and Deadpool says, "Are you fucking kidding me? That looks awesome." He says, "Yeah, I wear this when I do a lot of killing." And he goes to town.
Yeah,
and again, when he pulls
old boy.
I mean, again, I'm not immune to the nostalgia. I'm
blasting.
I'm fanboying out.
I'm blasting in my pants, man. I see those white eyes. It's one of those things where you go like, well, I don't get it. They did the white eyes for Daredevil. I don't get it. They did the white eyes for Spider-Man. Well, they couldn't ever do it for any other characters. Those, it would never work for Batman. And then you see Wolverine happen, and you just go, well, just can't any Batman director just have the courage to try it?
Yeah, it could work in Batman. Like, I've been watching a lot of these Batman animated movies, and they're doing that all the time. Maybe not something like The Batman, where it's a more realistic take, or Christopher Nolan's trilogy, but maybe in The Brave and the Bold, which is this new DCU Batman that's going to be coming out at some point.
Seems to be so comic accurate.
Yeah,
because it's the future.
It's sort of like a retro future. It seems like the way they're shooting the Superman movie. So yeah, maybe the white eyes for that could work. I think
they had similar stuff going on with the Watchmen too. Like you not see through like lenses and stuff. Yeah, the white eyes would work for Batman, I'd say. But this looks good. We finally get it. 24 years in the making or something, And
this is what's so funny, because I saw when I was like, do people really care about him wearing the suit and stuff? It does nothing for me. But then when he puts on that fucking cowl, I'm like, okay, I get it now.
And the line is, how much wax do you put on those blowjob handles? Is that what Daredevil says about the mask?
Probably, yeah.
And you're like, again, you're just like, would you just shut the fuck up? I'm trying to watch the thing I enjoy, which is not you and your movie, you motherfucker.
For 1 minute. Yeah. But we get that now they're on the same page, and it's not the whole team. It's just Deadpool and Wolverine and a reference to Old Boy, side shot, a bunch of jumping in and out of a bus, like
right.
And he didn't say Old Boy. He should have overtly said, "We're doing the Old Boy thing." Like, come on.
And I do like this fight, actually, Colin. I don't know if you're saying this is the one you don't like.
I appreciate that it's a oneer.
Yeah, when they're wandering across the screen, I'm like, okay, this is pretty good.
These fake CGI wonders, I don't know.
Yeah.
They just don't impress me. That's the thing. It's just that I know that they're all just these previs.
Yeah.
I think there's like a mix of moments that are CG'd and then cut in, like a little bit of both.
Yeah, I would have to rewatch it, I guess. But and of course we get this, he uses Nice Pool as a shield, basically, and that's the joke of he can't regenerate. He gets shot 1 million times.
How long does it take you to regenerate?
What regeneration? Oh, right, sorry.
I need to say it. You're gonna be all right. I'm gonna live. Say it. Yeah.
Boom. His head explodes. And then really Wolverine's like, that was just needlessly cruel. He's holding Dogpool the whole time. So now it seems like Deadpool's gonna own Dogpool. It's insane. They kill all these Deadpools. Now, much like we've seen in every Deadpool Wolverine fight, they just regenerate. You can't kill these Deadpools. Honk honk on a moped. Kind of chubby Deadpool pulls up and says, "I'm here." Takes off his mask. It's Peter Pool.
Peter Pool.
And it's X-Force, he's like, heck yeah, we're out here. And
Yeah.
is that the
Rob Delaney? What is his name?
Rob Delaney, yeah.
Rob
He's a
Delaney,
comedian and actor, yeah.
Yeah, and so...
but where's the rest of X-Force? Oh, they all died.
No, but then he brought them all back to life.
Deadpool too.
But Shatterstar was at his birthday party.
Shatterstar was.
Why can't this be
Where's
Colossus?
Domino? Yeah.
Why can't this be Vanessa? Why can't I don't know.
Here's where I'm at. There's one more opportunity that's missed later I want to talk about, but like this right here, bring the whole family, Colossus, Yukio, everybody, Negasonic, head, and then he can say, X-Force, assemble.
Yeah,
look at the camera.
That would be awesome.
And then he freaks out, and then we do it.
Fuck yes, dude.
That's what we needed. If you're really member bearing hard,
dun,
and then
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
We already made the shawarma joke by this point. They are going full Avengers. They might as well just rip that
he
Band-Aid
wants to be
off.
an Avenger so bad. Let him say the thing with his own crew. Like, that would have been
Yes,
awesome.
that's a good payoff for this arc, Mike.
Yeah, it just feels like all the characters from Deadpool 1 and 2 just get totally shafted in this movie.
Yeah.
And all the
Give me
supporting characters.
Dopinder
Like
in
his
there,
friend,
too.
yeah, Dopinder.
We love Dopinder.
No Dopinder, again, no T.J. Miller for reasons. And Vanessa, specifically Monica Baccarin, who's an actress who you see in just a zillion things.
Yeah.
She's playing Vanessa, who in the
Firefly.
comics is a character called Copycat. She's revealed to be a sort of like Mystique level mutant who can look like other people. I remember her doing all this press of like, in the third movie, I'd really like to see us explore the Copycat stuff. Why doesn't he ever interact with a Vanessa variant in this? How interesting would that have been for a Vanessa variant to be pruned and be in the abyss or whatever you call it?
Yeah,
it just seems like they're like, you know what, people don't want to see all these characters from Deadpool movies. They want to see just Wolverine. They want to see Wolverine and Deadpool.
That's Mike. I'm so leaning into what you said about Ant-Man, where it's like, look, we know the last two things that defined our franchise. But what if we completely jump the shark and we realize that it's really about X, Y, and Z? And you're like, it's not
where's
about
T.I.?
those things.
Where's
it's not
T.I.?
about Aang. It's not about where's
David Dastmalchian?
I was trying to think of my mind. What is that maniac's name? Where is David Dastmalchian? Where is Michael Pena?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because he was always asking, am I going to get my suit? Like, give him a suit in the third movie. Like, you know, he's been begging for the first two.
Bullshit.
Yeah, they
By the way,
blew it.
It's contract stuff. It's just them being like, we have you in this contract. We can use you for this. Marvel didn't sign those contracts for those Deadpool movies. I bet there's, with the weird production this is under a new producer and all that stuff, I bet a lot of them didn't have to come back and would have been a lot more money if their scenes were longer. So
maybe they have no competes with other studios now too. Like Zazie Beetz maybe just couldn't be here because whatever her new stuff is.
No, I'm in Joker and Joker 2. Oh, okay.
I don't even think she's in Joker 2.
Well, but like, for example,
I don't know.
She's in Atlanta. You know, she's doing this new season of Atlanta. That's just kidding because that show's over too. But
I did get the Joker 2 trailer, by the way. It was insane.
Oh,
insane.
I don't know if I got that one. By the way, I just want to shout out Dopinder, the actor that plays him, Karen Sony. We know someone who was roommates with him in college at USC.
That's right.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Friend of a friend.
Friend of a friend.
Cool.
But our
That's
friend,
cool.
So, yeah, we're pretty much best friends. And that makes me best friends with Ryan Reynolds, if you connect the dots, Kevin Bacon style.
If you wreck them. Nice. Well, there you go. And as listeners of us, now you're only one step closer now knowing that.
So now we get the wrap up here. The Deadpools are all nice because much like, again, Rick and Morty, they learn that all Deadpools have a Peter, and everybody's like, oh, that's great and fun.
We love Peter.
So they relax. Deadpool and Wolverine run to the Time Ripper. Paradox has been knocked out, but he says to them, you know, you gotta, one of you, because you have regeneration powers, can be the antimatter to the matter and antimatter matrix that she's hooking up together.
Basically,
again,
you're just short-circuiting. You're just short-circuiting.
You just gotta hit
something.
fast forward.
I don't care about
I'm
none of
truly
this.
like, this could be shown at 1.5 speed. We don't need to be having this dialogue mean anything.
We literally have a download progress bar as our ticking clock
I know this
element.
movie, I'm sitting in the theater thinking like, I know this movie's almost over. I'm about to piss my pants because I like to get a big soda at every movie, and I have to go about an hour and a half into every movie. So I'm trying to find the right time to run out to the bathroom. I'm like, I know this is gotta be wrapping up soon. Like this is almost over, right? Yeah, and it's like, one of us has to sacrifice ourselves, Spock style.
They have a big fight about who that should be. They keep kind of tricking each other. It's very drawn out. Eventually, they just do it together and hold hands and that. And Mike, I told Jacob, I think one of the most effective moments, the integration of that Madonna song earlier, and then to peak it with the soundtrack here, make it totally choral, you know, big orchestra behind it, young singers and stuff. I'm super touched. Again, I have no idea what's happening, but I'm like, wow, this is powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, they use the song in the trailer too, right? I mean, that's it plays over the big fight scene with all the Deadpools too.
Yeah.
This is fine. Yeah.
Well, they do make an explicit reference to Star Trek, and this is just my last missed opportunity. And I wanted when Deadpool's on the other side of the door because he's like, no, fuck you, I'm doing it, and Wolverine has to eventually bash his way in to help. But you know, when he's doing those bits, I want him to say, now you run along home and you tell your mom there's no more guns left in the valley. Like I wanted that reference from Logan to come through.
That's good. I like that. I mean, he does the Austin Powers. He does the I'm going down an elevator. I'm doing the stair. I mean, it's like.
Meanwhile, I'm like, let's wrap this
They
up.
have
Truly, I'm like, we're all burned out on you. You're doing this on purpose.
Yeah. But he can't reach, so Logan busts the door down, and they do it together. His shirt rips off, and you see his abs, and
then the music just hits. Yeah, it is. And I gotta say, not even just that song. There's a real '90s soundtrack to this entire film that I thought really worked.
Yeah, and the Deadpools have interesting soundtrack choices, all three.
Yeah.
I will say when they're driving in the Honda Odyssey in the Void, there is a deep cut Avril Lavigne song playing on the radio. And I was like, that's interesting. Avril Lavigne, a Canadian singer. So I thought, is that like another Canada reference? And it's not even like the two songs that you would probably know from Avril Lavigne. It's only a song that I know because I bought that album when I was 12.
Wow.
Blake Lively did a TikTok that said it was one of those things where she's just like sitting there mugging and the text is, the thing talking. And it's like, how do you know you're a millennial who's influenced your partner? And it's all these cuts of Deadpool of like, can I build a snowman reference that he makes in the second one, the Frozen reference. It was Jacob, this song, the Avril Lavigne song. So I think she's almost taking credit for inspiring these weird music choices, which I don't know.
Yeah. Shout out to Hell's Bells. We get Iron Maiden, right?
Yeah.
Right. AC/DC.
AC/DC,
Yeah, that's pretty sick. Australian rock band, like just to say. So Hell's Bells during the first fight with them is pretty sick.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. But they do it.
So
they save all the universes.
They don't die. Yeah.
and everyone's
Wolverine's shirt exploded. He's so muscly, oily. We get the B12 lady.
What's her name from Loki shows up and is like,
she's like,
here?
I want to fuck Peter, and you're like, okay.
That's right. Well, because she wants to arrest him, and Peter's like, "Hey, you're looking pretty nice too," and that's how they get away with it. She's like, "All right, all right,
great."
He takes Logan to his house.
She's like, "Paradox, what are you doing here? We don't condone any of this. We're gonna fix everything. We're gonna straighten everything out." Yeah, and then they're like, "Okay," and then let's go get some shawarma, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Actually, your universe was never going to die. And she says, like, look at this. It's like stronger than ever, right? And they're like, oh. And then he says, well, I have one request. Can you fix this guy's thing? And she says, well, if he's because he's the worst Wolverine. Well, if he's the worst Wolverine, he just saved the world. I don't think there's anything to fix because I think he's exactly where he needed to be. And they go, oh, okay. And then he says, well, will you do one thing else for me? In the Void, there's a group of these losers who don't deserve to be treated how they're treated. And you go, oh, we're going to get all of our characters together. The Fox and the Deadpool characters will cross over back at his surprise party. No, it's just Laura. You just get X-23 just sort of as a, well, what if this Wolverine had a kid, basically, which is the nice little relationship they have now, which is cute. I liked all that. I liked Logan.
You stay in the Void.
I mean, just bring him back for a second. But the fact that Logan's in casual clothes at the end, petting Dogpool with his daughter and goes, hey, go talk to your ex-wife, to Ryan. Again, I don't like that we've reset these characters so much, but it's a nice moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, not Tilda Swinton disintegrates, which that's who I thought the villain was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a variant of her from Doctor Strange.
The Chosen One or whatever her name is.
Yeah. But I guess the other thing.
The Ancient One.
Yes. But so everything's solved, but we're pretty much right where we started, just at a birthday party, I guess. And
the whole movie didn't matter. It's like
kind of feels
we just
like
had
that,
a couple more guests.
Yeah. You're at the end, you're like, okay. And so let's jump over now to final thoughts.
I think that's a great idea.
Talk about if we think this movie did matter. We're back here on Normies Like Us, wrapping it up. We're putting away our katanas. We are retracting our claws. Snicked. As we talk Deadpool and Wolverine, the crossover event of the century. Now, I just posed the question. Did this movie matter? Does this movie work for you? Is this movie good?
I have a couple of questions to package with that concept, too. because it's making a lot of money, and a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh shit, MCU is back, baby." But I would say no, because this is a one-of-a-kind specimen. Like Jacob said, you can't do this again. You can't make a comedy that's rated R. Like, this is a one-of-a-kind thing, and they can't replicate this with any of their other current heroes, I don't think. So with that,
they're just running out
right.
the clock. I mean, that's what it feels like to me.
Well, yeah, and again, I kind of said that after No Way Home. I'm like, that was cool, but like, they can't do that.
You can't run it back.
Right.
You played your card.
And I've seen and I said this didn't totally work for me. Maybe I'm being too harsh on it, because maybe after talking about it with you guys, maybe I like it more now. I don't know, but I
would watch it again.
Yeah, but the way I saw someone described basically how I feel, which is like, I enjoyed that, but I never want to see that. Like, I want to see. I'll rewatch this movie, but I never want to see another movie like this.
But
like,
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, but the implied promise of the forthcoming Russo brothers Secret Wars movie, an Avengers film after this other thing, which we can go ahead and talk about whatever that fucking shit is in a minute, whatever variant that is.
Right.
But Secret War as an event, which really is the merging of all multiverses, and you'd have to imagine that will be the thing that puts an end to this phase in the variants.
Yeah.
Isn't the promise of that film Tobey Maguire shakes hands with Hugh Jackman, and then they all high-five Chris Evans, and then Tom Holland comes up and gives everybody a thumbs up, and Robert Downey Jr.'s blowing kisses? Like, would that get you guys? Like, there is one more piece they could play, which is putting all of it together. They've been playing with just the pieces.
I don't want to see that. Like, I saw.
Okay.
Like, I don't need to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield again. I don't need to see these other cameos. Like Hugh, I mean, yeah, Hugh.
That's the big question.
Till you're 90.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like,
I don't know.
Whoever they cast as, Hugh Jackman, whenever he stops playing the role, or years in the future passes away or whatever, they're eventually going to recast Wolverine. And whoever they recast, I feel so bad for them, because he's going to have to live up to Hugh Jackman, and people are going to obviously say like
10 movies. It's like, I can't compete with that.
Yeah, it's unfair, but he needs to be done, I think. And yeah, I don't need like Deadpool to make a puberty joke about Peter Parker or something. Like,
no.
Like, I'm fine.
Well, this is what I'm confused about, because the way it ends, are they in the MCU, or are they in their original
They're
timeline?
in Deadpool 1003, I think, or whatever.
Right. So it's the X-Men timeline. So they're not even in the MCU. So why does it even matter?
And was it a joke, the Thor thing, or do we know that one day Deadpool will be called upon, and that he does have this greater purpose, that he will come to the 616?
That must be like an Avengers thing, where they're like, yeah, he's going to be in the next big Avengers movie, and that'll be a moment. But so they're kind of foreshadowing that.
Yeah, because again, in the comics, it was like to combine, I guess, with the Ultimate Universe with the regular universe to make one thing. So like, all right, Deadpool, all Deadpool movies 1, 2, and 3 resolve in his Fox corner of the universe with Logan. Fine, great. Yeah. I'm here for that. Actually, it's clean. This plays with the MCU but goes home. Okay, I'll take it. But then, in the future in Secret Wars, they're gonna grab Deadpool out. Hopefully, they'll leave Logan there. They'll probably grab Laura. Right. And use them for Secret Wars.
Well, they're just sort of leaving it open-ended for Hugh Jackman. It's like, if you want to come back in a cameo, if you want to come back in a small supporting role or something, like, we'd love to have you anytime. And I think that's
lots
kind
of money, Hugh. We love you.
But that's the thing, is because after Logan, he was like, I'm ready to be done with this. Like, I'm ready to be done with this. But he did want to come back for this, because he's like, it's not, Logan was its own thing. That Logan died. That ended his whole saga. It's kind of the same character, but it's a different character. So I understand, him wanting to come back for that. And it's just like Daniel Craig with James Bond, where every time he was like, man, I can't play James Bond again. And then a couple years later, he's like, you know what? Maybe I should play James Bond again.
I actually love him. I love James.
Right.
I got the check from the studio, and turns out I love James.
You know what? I bought another house. I'm actually very interested in doing this.
So look at the big news, of course. The big Comic-Con news was like, of course, Iron Man is dead. He'll never come back. He won an Oscar. He's doing his own thing. Oh, wait, he is coming.
That's what I wanted to transition to. I guess the whole future question, like, is that the dumbest thing they've ever done? I think so.
It is. It 100% is.
Yeah.
I'll wait to see how it's utilized, because
We're gonna have to wait and see.
the announcement is one thing. We're gonna have to wait and see, because I understand the announcement is shocking, but there's a way that it could work where when you see it, it's like, okay, I understand now. I mean, if his Doctor Doom, if he never takes off the mask, then you don't know it's just his voice, I guess.
Well, there's versions of Tony Stark that have turned evil, I guess, but I think off pod we were texting like Victor Von Doom should be Victor Von Doom, not an evil Tony Stark.
I'm just tired of variants, and it just feels like, along with the continued Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and playing around with the John Krasinski as the Fantastic Four, where they seem so nervous about the fact that they have these characters and they don't want to fuck them up because they have been fucked up, that they keep making these excuses of, this is not the official one. This is actually a different one. We're actually going to get to our Fantastic Four, but first let me show you a sampling of what our Fantastic Four could be like. Where I just go like, what are you nervous about? I understand you're worried about making bad movies. You've arguably made 40 or something good movies, or even if you don't want to call them good, you've made 40 things that have made you a profit. So take a chance. Like, what are you fucking scared of?
This is the thing with the MCU. I think this is a huge overcorrection, where of course they had, as we were talking about off pod, the whole Kang thing, the Jonathan Majors thing. Just recast Kang. Like, you've recasted characters before plenty of times. Instead, they're doing this whole pivot where it's like, Kang Dynasty is out, Victor Von Doom is in. We're changing the whole idea for what we want these Avenger movies to be. It's like, you had this whole plan for Kang, and now you're just going to pivot away because of the actor. It's like you just cast a different
I'd say
variant.
it twofold. The scandal with him and the fact that he was the villain of one of their films that bombed, that Quantumania did so bad that they're just like, well, did nobody like Kang?
But it's like, that's their fault.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, the movie was bad because of their writing and planning, not because of Paul Rudd or whatever.
But I think Ant-Man Quantumania is a better movie than Deadpool and Wolverine.
That's a hot take. I'm not positive I'm there with you.
Here's the thing, like I was saying, I liked moments of this. It's not a good movie to me.
Wow.
I think Ant-Man Quantumania is a better movie. I think The Marvels is a better movie than this movie.
I haven't seen it.
So I realize this is a hot take to a lot of people.
How was one of the losers not fucking Dr. Fraser Crane? How was it not our beast?
Well, that was the big after credit scene of that. But no, to me, I mean, if we're getting into final thoughts, I have, like I said, very mixed feelings about this movie. I think it's on the below average side of MCU movies. If I was listing all the MCU movies, like I said, The Marvels, not even a movie I consider good or anything, but I think it's better than this movie. So possibly a hot take, but I think the MCU fans, they're all wrong.
Whiskey.
Yeah, Mike was plied. People were hooting and hollering.
Yeah,
Jacob had laughter in his theater at a comedy film.
The
Acolyte is bad, but this is good.
This is better than The Acolyte as a whole.
Who's saying that? The internet. But I don't care.
The Acolyte is much better than this movie.
So where do you rank this in the Deadpool verse? Do you put it at the bottom, Jacob, of the three?
I would have to rewatch, because I didn't rewatch the Deadpools, but I remember liking those. Those are both like 3.5-star movies to me. This is like a 2.5-star movie. So yeah, I
remember one really not feeling very complete. I'd go 2, 3, 1, maybe. Mike, how about you?
I think because I like the Deadpool family so much, it is 2, 3, 1. One, having watched them super recently, like you feel like that it's just getting off the starting blocks. Like, it is a smaller budget. It's very scaled back. 2 is finally Josh Brolin, Juggernaut. Like that's a fun movie. I would
go 2, 1, 3.
Okay.
And for Wolverines, I would go Logan, The Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
I haven't said I'm a huge The Wolverine fan. I think one of the best fight scenes in comic book history is Hugh Jackman versus Hiroyuki Sanada, the samurai fight in the fucking Japanese temple. I'm
gonna have to rewatch that.
The Wolverine is super underrated. Yeah, I mean, Logan is a better movie, but I think
it just ends with a crazy robot where you're like, this is nuts.
All the Japan stuff is cool.
It's great. It's really cool.
Wolverine in Japan. What's not to like?
No, and that's like a big part of his backstory, you know?
Yeah.
It's based on the comic books Kitty Pryde and the Wolverine, which was a huge arc where, you know, they replace it. It's this character Rukia instead, but where him and Kitty go to Japan and he falls into this whole Yakuza thing.
It's like a Lone Wolf and
so
Kid vibe almost.
Yeah.
They could have done
sorry to be such a
no,
downer about this movie. You know, I don't want to yuck everybody's young.
Real cable, you know.
Here's where I'm going to go into it, Jacob, because I think this is maybe something we didn't even talk about, which is Mike, you said not seeing any trailers, you didn't have any expectations. I think a big weakness of this film is so many people went into it with expectations. I'm certainly not saying that's why you don't like it, Jacob, but I think so many people were like, well, this will wrap up the Fox universe. This will introduce mutants to the MCU.
People
Obviously, this will cement Wolverine as our Wolverine. Yes, that
movie.
And it doesn't help that Kevin Feige says, like, well, in the canon of how important this is, if Infinity Wars and Endgames are a 10, this is a 9. Where you're like, what the fuck drugs are you smoking? No, it is not. That's an insane take.
Again, No Way Home was sorry. Go ahead.
100% is. I would give that an 8. I mean, honestly, but that's you'd think it would be higher than this film. But I was saying to Jacob, Mike, Ryan Reynolds released his thank you today, and we should point out Hugh Jackman did the same and released that dope touching the picture meme, the Wolverine picture meme to thank people for breaking the record. But Ryan Reynolds released a touching, you know, the opposite of being an actual sincere person for a moment, saying, hey, this means a lot to me that we made these films and, you know, going into them, people thought that this was going to be a film about introducing Deadpool to the MCU, but actually I consider this a film of saying goodbye to 20th Century Studios, which was a place where we did a lot of good work. And that's clearly cemented by the credits, which let's talk about that for a second. Okay. Jacob, you said was your favorite part, which is a montage of all these movies being made. I thought that was so touching.
I thought it was very sweet and touching for them to include this. And this is the point, and I'm not embarrassed to admit this, I genuinely started crying during this montage. First of all, you use Good Riddance, Time of Your Life by Green Day.
Yes.
If you want me to cry, just put that song.
A film that I walked out to every elementary, high school graduation to. Yeah. So it's something so touching.
If you want millennials to, you know, feel emotions, make a montage with that as the soundtrack. But to have all these early clips of these X-Men, and it just made me think about...
And James Marsden, I mean, seeing these people, and like,
Patrick
I know you're saying it's good, but I'm immediately 10 again when I'm seeing them. I'm sitting in the theater with my parents, and they're telling me I'm going to a movie based on the X-Men, which is the most exciting thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Again, we're getting sentimental over a franchise where I would argue there's more bad movies than good movies, right?
Yes, and directed by a pedophile.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we hate the BS.
2 pedophiles, maybe. Brett Ratner.
Likely.
BR.
Likely.
So I'm like, I'm getting sentimental for these movies that like aren't even that good, but like I'm seeing young Hugh Jackman, and
you're just thinking about your life, you know. It's
I'm thinking about the passage of time and mortality, and I'm thinking about Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are so old now, and they won't be with us soon. It just made me feel so many emotions.
Yeah, and I guess that's ultimately what this is. It's the love letter to the Fox stuff that now is technically, again, this doesn't bring anything to the MCU, like Ryan said. It's like, at the very most, Deadpool shows up, he takes one step onto a single backlot of the MCU and the TVA in a basement. One office of the TVA in a basement. Right. That's as much MCU.
Deadpool shows up, he is told what the plot of his MCU movie would be, which is that he's important and they must come with them. And instead, he makes his own plot of his movie and says, no, this film should be about me finding a Wolverine to keep the Fox universe alive. Again, that's kind of a comment on subverting what you would want an MCU movie to be, or a Deadpool MCU movie, I guess.
Yeah, and in that way, I think it's successful as Deadpool. And again, it doesn't do anything for the MCU to advance it. Like, nothing changes status quo-wise for the MCU.
Right.
Well, but it's like a fun little romp, I guess. So, like, I'm okay with it. I had a good time. Yeah. I'll say 7.5 out of 10, pacing and stuff aside.
I guess C+. I had a great time. I don't know.
B-. I don't care. Yeah, I'm going to be.
I'm just trying not to think about it.
Yeah. It's
No, it gets
I
a
don't
B
know.
minus because of Gambit. It gets elevated just
There
one
we
letter
go.
grade.
There,
Yeah.
it gets that passing grade. Or teacher, why don't you go ahead and put your passing grade on there for old Gambit? You got it. You got it,
Gambit was
Remy.
great. And like I said,
Yeah.
there's moments that I really liked, but ultimately it did feel kind of hollow as a complete film where I'm like, what is the point of this movie? I know that, like, yeah, you could argue that there's some points, but to me, like I'm saying, like I teared up at this emotional montage in the credits, which is so touching and nice that they included that, but also like if the best part of the movie for me is the credits, that's probably not a great sign either.
And then it's immediately undercut by the reveal of an earlier joke that Johnny Storm had a real potty mouth, and here we see Chris Evans say like, "You cunt bitch," which again I'm like, I don't really want to see Captain America like call a woman a cunt.
It's not Captain America, it's Johnny
Yeah,
Storm.
I know, but it kind of makes me sick.
Yeah. But yeah, as a way of saying goodbye to this 20th century Fox era X-Men movies, it is sad. And those movies did kind of go out with not with a bang, but with a
whimper.
A whisper, with a whimper.
Quietly, yeah. Put in the
Dark
grave.
Phoenix again.
Dark Phoenix.
Gas to death. Yeah. Oh my God. Dark Phoenix.
And
Some of those movies are not very good, right?
No.
But I still have fond memories of them. And we watched
X-Men
them
1 and 2 and then First
age.
Class. Like those are the good ones.
First Class, Days of Future Past.
Sansa should have been in the void. She should have been there, little Sophie Turner being like, and I'm here because I'm the worst actress in the world.
I did want to mention, so I pulled up this picture that we were talking about earlier with Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
I just want to say this is dated July 2015.
Oh, 2015.
July 2015. I want to describe to you the actors that are in this picture. It's like it was an EW spread or something.
Sure.
But of course, you have Channing Tatum. You have James McAvoy. You have Michael Fassbender. You have the Fantastic Four, the Josh Trank Fantastic Four. Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan survived and got to do
no,
Black Panther. Speaking of double roles.
Yeah.
That's right.
You have Jennifer Lawrence. You have Ryan Reynolds. You have Oscar Isaac in there. Nicholas Hoult in there. Quicksilver, our guy, Evan Peters. And then you have Olivia Munn, for some reason, is also in this spread. It's just the most random spread. And also, everyone is like dressed really nicely, except you have Channing Tatum just wearing a Gambit shirt and jeans.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Very funny.
Fuck yeah. Same Gambit shirt he came out for at the recent Hall H Comic Con panel that announced all the Deadpool cameos. So
that's cool.
That's awesome. But yeah, this photo, it reminds me of that Dark Universe photo with
that's a great, yes. What a pull, Jacob. Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man.
What an era.
Oh yeah, it was cool to see Vanisher come back in this.
Yes.
But to have Miles Teller and the Fantastic Four in the same picture with these X-Men, it's just so wild. And you have Hugh Jackman too, I forgot to mention, of course. But what a strange combination of people.
Yeah, wild.
But Ryan Reynolds actually posted that today, and he was saying, or yesterday, and I think this was the heartfelt post you were talking about. This isn't just Deadpool saying, oh, hello to the MCU. It's Deadpool and Hugh, Sean and me saying farewell to a place in an era that literally made us. We are forever grateful for the fun, weird, uneven, and risky world of 20th Century Fox. It was our origin story, and we wouldn't trade it for anything. Thank you to Kevin Feige and Disney for allowing us to share it.
I mean, uneven. That is acknowledgement that it is an ugly, it was a hard process. And is that not Deadpool? He's just an ugly motherfucker who's getting the job done.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. You're going to, like Francis tells him, like, it's going to fucking hurt. If you want to be Deadpool, you're going to suffer. And suffer he did to get to this point. So that's cool, I think, and to have Feige let them shit all over Disney and Fox and the fact that too many timelines. He said pretty much whatever he wanted except for cocaine. That's
welcome to the MCU. You're joining at a low point. Yes.
Yeah.
Like things haven't been the same since Endgame is literally what he says.
But also, if you remember,
way to go.
This isn't the first time that the MCU has gotten meta in Fourth Wall-E, because if you remember in She-Hulk, the show She-Hulk, another comic character that's known for breaking the fourth wall like Deadpool.
The first to do it. Did it before Deadpool.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Fun fact.
And the climax of that show is like her meeting a robot called
Kevin.
Kevin, right? And it's this, so it gets really meta where it's like she basically breaks down the whole MCU. I kind of feel like that worked better for me than this movie again.
100%.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch that too. I still haven't seen. I got burnt out
You
on
haven't
the
seen
shows.
that?
No, and I've been famously burnt out on Marvel, and like I was cautiously optimistic, and I like this more than I thought I would. But like, am I excited for Captain America? Sort of not.
No, not at all.
What? Harrison Ford?
No, even with Han Solo, you can't trick me. And
Thunderbolts,
let's end there
like,
about where we're feeling about Marvel going forward. So you guys are saying none of these pops can get you back. Whatever asshole trick they're going to pull in secret.
This wasn't even Marvel. Yeah.
No, but I guarantee, don't you want to see a scene where Deadpool points at like Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner, and says like, "Hey, you're weird," and then he just goes through the whole line of characters, and he just calls out every single one of them. That wouldn't get you there, Jacob.
You used to be Edward Norton.
I'm gonna go. It's not like I'm not gonna go see the next Avengers movies. Like, of course I am, and I think that's. And This is funny because I'm more negative on this movie, but I feel like I was less burned out on the MCU as a whole. Like, I'm still going to see the Marvels in theaters, and like I said, like. I've said my opinion of the MCU before, where I think kind of every movie is sort of like a 3 for me out of 5. So it's like they're never that great for me. I mean, there's some standouts and there's some really bad ones, but mostly they just hit a midpoint where it's like, yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty entertaining when I was watching. I'm going to forget everything about it the second I leave. This one, I don't know. It just felt more cash grabby, where they're like, what can we do to get fans back? Oh, fucking Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, and Deadpool. That's what people want to see. They want to see Wolverine. It's like, yeah, I do, but
I want to see the Pyro Kid. We really can't get anybody else, but we got the Pyro Kid.
Oh man,
we want to see.
They could have had Elliot Page as a variant Kitty Pryde.
They could have had Vinnie Jones. The fucking Juggernaut's an actual plot point in this movie. You can't do it unless you brought the actor back who plays him.
One. Have Taylor Hitch die by Channing Tatum.
Yeah, they really, if they wanted to have this theme of like failed franchise and stuff, they should have had just a shit ton of cameos, and just maybe that's out of the budget or out of realistic possibilities. But like, just get everyone to come in for a 30 seconds, get fucking all these different X-Men actors, get whoever wants to come back. Like I said, get Kelsey Grammer as Beast or whatever. Like, yeah, just go all out if you're going to go all out.
I thought it was going to be like the Rat Race movie or It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, where we would get a humble moment of like you're saying, Jacob, they don't have to have lines. You pay them scale because you're just using their face. It's Miles Teller's Fantastic Four tries to grab the Time Ripper, whatever your MacGuffin to get these people out of this world, who's then knocked over by Blade, who reaches for it, who then is intercepted by Jessica Alba's Invisible Girl. Dot. They're really, again, it's fan expectations. That's not the movie we got, so I don't.
Ready Player One. I don't know if it's a movie.
So that is very Ready Player One.
Yeah, Godzilla shows up. I feel like this is definitely the movie that Ryan Reynolds wanted to make with Hugh Jackman. Like, if that's what audiences wanted or not, they had
sort
fun.
of
I think in his mind, he just thought these are the social media posts we could do. These are the Heineken beer commercials. I don't even think he thinks the movie, Mike. I just think he thinks like all the cultural impact I'll have by being in a Hugh Jackman Wolverine movie. You're like, cool, it's your brand again. Awesome.
He's good at marketing, but again, to have like your big opportunity to be this character and they just shit the bed on it. Like, I would be selfishly motivated to be like, no, fuck you, I'm gonna do it. And like that pettiness almost, like, so maybe that's playing into it, and like, yeah, I'll be famous, but it's like, because fuck you, Fox, which he literally says when he grabs the camera in the intro.
It's just surprising that this is
I'm going to Disneyland, I forgot.
Yes. So
this is the movie that's going to make so much money. It's going to break all these box office records.
Teach them the wrong lessons.
They always learn the wrong lessons.
Yeah.
It's like, why is this movie so successful? Like, people are just going out to see this. But like Logan, when Logan came out, like that, this is probably going to make more money than Logan. So like, if people just want to see Hugh Jackman as Logan, then why didn't they go see that movie?
I don't know.
619 million for Logan. So this is definitely going to beat that.
Like $1 billion. Yeah.
It's already at 400 million. So.
But has the superhero landscape for movies has just changed so much that like these people just go out to see these movies in huge droves. Like I know, like obviously the MCU at its peak, people were obviously going out to see it, but like it has been a sort of a low point recently.
And this is the highest grossing film since Dune still. I mean, I would argue that this has been a terrible year for the theater. And it's something that they reaped because obviously there's,
like,
Mad Max.
Inside Out 2.
But this is, remember, it's post the strikes, it's post-COVID. Like, a lot of people think studios have reaped this year as a huge loss because of the fuck-ups they did behind the scenes.
But again, one of the biggest box office openings for all of MCU was Multiverse of Madness, just due to hype. And then it had a big fall off after week one, but people are like, we want to see those cameos. So it really does seem like you got to put like these random cameos in your movie if you want people to come out, because that's what the fans want. It's just very strange. It didn't work
with the Flash, really. Maybe it did the first week, but yeah, I
guess like Flash.
People are going to look at Ryan Reynolds as Marvel Jesus because of how much money this made, and he's going to have a lot of maybe say creatively behind the scenes about stuff, and I don't know if that's necessarily great, but I want to finally highlight the Deadpool franchise. The first two made over 780 million globally each, like by themselves. So the franchise right now is over $2 billion with 3 movies.
Good.
That's a strong. So do you think we'll get a Deadpool? Yeah. Do you think we'll get a Deadpool 4 at some point?
I think 100%. I don't know if it's with Wolverine, but he lives in his universe now. It could stay on that side of the universes, but it'll happen.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Before we go, I want to read one other thing that I pulled up here.
Yeah, please.
Super quick.
It's the most research and reading we've done on this podcast in a while, so I really enjoy this, guys.
Yeah. Breaking the fourth wall of data.
It's a long one, but there's a lot to talk about, and we're breaking the fourth wall. But Hideo Kojima, I follow him on Twitter. I like to read. He always posts. He goes to see a lot of movies. He loves pop culture, obviously.
Famous game designer.
You might have heard of him, yeah.
Yeah.
He loves to like post these little reviews that he does. Sometimes when he sees a movie, he'll just say, "I saw so and so," and that means he didn't like it.
Yeah, nothing else.
Yes.
If he posts a whole paragraph, that means he did like it.
Yeah.
And he saw Deadpool and Wolverine. I just want to read what he wrote because I think it's
so
funny. He's such an interesting guy. The way he
follow him, he has some really funny reviews. Yeah, it's great. He's a good barometer.
He said, "I watched Deadpool and Wolverine. It goes far beyond the fourth wall between real and fictional, between the creators and fans, but also past the walls of not only the title and studio, but all hero movies and parodies outside of the MCU. As a hero-verse in the age of the fifth wall, this is Deadpool's greatest fourth wall and will certainly be a turning point. We are also reunited with Yukio, played by Shiola Katsuna. Seeing a muscular Hugh Jackman brought back many memories of the past quarter of a century, and it made me tear up. Even now, he is still a hero."
Oh, wow. I bet he liked those credits. None of that makes any sense, and he shouldn't be proud of seeing Yukio for one joke.
Well, if you followed... Hi, Wade. Hi, Yukio. If you followed Metal Gear at all, like Metal Gear 2 is literally about living in a simulation, and like the character realizes he's in a video game. Like he's so fourth, fifth wall brained anyway.
That's
that
true.
He made up this concept of the fifth wall, which is very funny.
That's very on brand for him.
He loves to shout out actors that he knows or has worked with before. So I wonder if Shioli Katsuna he's worked with, a Japanese actor. So, but just such an interesting guy. So I just wanted to read that.
He's putting a team together. He's got Ella Purnell now. Like he's slowly just getting all his famous friends.
Hunter Schafer.
Ryan Reynolds in Death Stranding 2 would really bug me.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up.
We're only drinking Monster. Like, okay, Ryan. Man. This is quite a conversation, though, but I think we're covering the breadth of those Fox movies kind of in the spirit of them. Also, the first 3 Deadpool. I don't think we've ever done a Deadpool episode. I could be wrong.
Look, I pitched, maybe after Apes is done, I pitched doing the X-Men movies before as our movie of the month because I would like to go back and just watch that whole franchise. Maybe we'll get to that someday.
I love you.
Yeah, and we have not done a Deadpool episode at all, so this one's
that's
covering a lot of ground.
And Deadpool could be included in those, all the X-Men movies, New Mutants. We've never talked about so many.
Why weren't any of the New Mutants in this movie?
Bro,
That's
Anya
bullshit.
Taylor-Joy is so hot right now too. That would have been perfect.
Yeah,
this is my sister.
Magic is a character that should have been utilized way more in the X-Men movies.
Wow.
Yeah,
she's a good
Colossus'
character.
Sister.
Yeah, Colossus' sister.
Deadpool calls Emma Corrin Furiosa.
He does.
That's right, and he says this is very Mad Maxy when they get to the Void too. So
That's right. We said WB.
And Nicholas Hoult could have been there as Beast. Like, what did you? Mad Max?
Yeah.
What?
What? Huh?
Today's
What?
a lovely day.
He's got his
What a
little
lovely
tumor with a
day.
smiley face on Beast Body.
That's
all right.
once all
Yeah.
corporations are owned by one company, we'll finally get those kind of movies. So I can't wait.
Yeah. That's
And
the
I don't know
Fortnite
about you
movie.
guys.
That's the fifth
I
one.
feel like I have eaten 1,000 chimichangas. I feel
100%.
drained from this Deadpool discussion.
We've
so I
talked
say
about a
let's
lot.
wrap it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We gotta
let's call
go.
it there.
We're getting zapped to the void. So
Well,
Let's do it.
yeah, I'm going to return to Earth Colin, where I live, where I'm the anchor being, of course.
That's right.
So thank you, Normies, for listening. Rate, review, subscribe at Normies Like Us. You know, tell us your thoughts on Deadpool. Give us your X-Men ratings. You know, I'd love to hear that too. And what
Jacob's
you thought
crazy for
of it.
not liking this movie,
Yeah.
right?
I'm sure you will be drained.
We do
we
want to
apologize for
mention.
not liking the plot. We liked the movie.
Yeah.
We just didn't like the plot.
Yeah.
It's like I said, mixed feelings.
all right.
We should mention that next week we will be taking a little summer break. We'll be off next week. No new episode next week, but then
Correct.
we'll be returning in 2 weeks. So
Yeah,
I
this
just wanna
has
say
absolutely drained us, and we don't want to do it again next
Yeah,
week.
we got an
I'm
extra
heading to
long
the void.
episode this
I'm
week.
taking my vacation.
That's right.
So.
That's right.
That's right. So, we'll see you soon, Normies, and we love you. But
Yeah.
We love you, bubs.
Love you.
What are you
bub.
talking about, bub?
we love you, bub.
A lot of added bubs in this movie. But
There
thank
was a
you,
lot of
bubs,
bubs.
for listening. Like we said, rate, review, subscribe. Hit us up on YouTube, and we've been your hosts. This is Colin Poole.
And returning to my universe, where I'm the anchor, Earth 69. It's Mike Poole.
And this is the Jacoline.
Hey,
I'm not
bub.
a Deadpool. I'm a Wolverine bear.
But I've heard you're the worst Jacoline.
I am, yeah.
At least you don't have to worry about
I'm
being
just
an
like a
anchor.
really weak Wolverine with no muscles. That's kind of my thing.
Save
I'm a
this calling
comic
you
actor, Colin, in that I'm 4'2".
Jimmy. There we go. All right. Well, take it
But,
easy, normies.
That's
Bye,
right. Yeah, good riddance.
assholes.
It's been
Keep
the
on
time
breaking
of
that
your
fourth
life.
wall with
Go
consent.
fuck a dildo,
Yeah. The
Sex joke.
proposal.
bitch.
Got 'em. All right.